Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Candidates Forum for the Clearlake City Council. This event is being sponsored by Lake County Magazine, SSS Multimedia, and Lake County LCM TV. And they want you to know that the City of Clearlake is given authorization to other media to video record and broadcast this event without their permission, but citizens are welcome to record for personal purposes, but any broadcast of this production on the internet, television, or any other source without the express written permission of SSS Multimedia, LCM TV, and or Lake County Magazine or their parent company is forbidden and will be considered a copyright infringement. We thank you for understanding. Well, now that we've gotten that little detail out of the way, I'd like to introduce the candidates to you. So far, we have, as you can see, 5 of the 7 candidates running, and we hope to have Councilman Lewis here in short order. But to start out, on your left is Michael Walton, who is a law student. Next to him is Michael Pessonen, who is works in the heating and air conditioning system business. And seated to his right is Russell Purdock, retired deputy sheriff. Seated to his right is Bruno Sabatier. Oh, pardon me. Thank you for the correction. To his right. Right, yes. Okay. And last but not least is Quincy Jackson. We're going to allow each candidate to make a 3-minute opening statement, and after that we'll begin our questions. So starting with Mr. Walton, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I am campaigning. I'm asking you to vote no against Measure R, and I'm also asking you to vote against Jeff Smith, and I'm asking you to vote against Jerry Lewis. Now, the reason why, there are several reasons why I'm doing that. And one of them is that I've filed suit against the city of Clearlake, and I filed suit against the county of Lake several times. And the courts have ruled corruptly every time. Our courts have become the most corrupt institution in America, and if I have time tonight, I will give you some very good examples. So specifically, what's happened here is the city of Clearlake has, under section 1-8.6 of the Clearlake Municipal Code, has given itself the power to levy $500 per day per violation citations. So if the code enforcement officer comes out and says, you have a boat that's not registered, that's $500 a day. If you have a car that's not registered, that's $1,000 a day, and so on and so forth. Now, the code permits them to levy these $500 per day per violation citations, and then you have to pay $880 within 15 days for the right to present evidence. You don't have the right to just present evidence and say, oh no, well that boat is exempt from registration, or that, you know, you can't say that. You have to pay $880 within 15 days, and if you don't pay it within 15 days, you waive your right to, how does it say? You waive your right that a violation exists. That's what the code says. So the city is now asking you to give them $250,000 every year to enforce this provision. Now,
excuse me, Mr. Walton, that's 3 minutes, so I think we need to move on to the next candidate, Mr. Pessonen, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Pessonen?
Close enough. My name is Michael Pessonen. I moved here in 1989. I've been a local citizen here in the city of Clearlake ever since. I have a father of 2. I work here, been working here ever since I got out of high school in '95. I am a volunteer coach. I've been coaching here for about 11, 12 years, doing basketball, football, soccer, whatever sports need coaches basically. And I'm running for city council to hopefully make better changes for our city, to hopefully move in the right direction, try to bring in jobs, try to help clean up the streets, and that's pretty much all I got to say for my opening statement.
Thank you. Mr. Purdock?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would appreciate it if you could hold your applause until intermission at least, if not the end. Thank you.
My name is Russell Purdock. I'm running for city council. I think just by the fact that there are 7 people running for 2 seats says that there's some things that need to be fixed. I was born and raised here. I grew up in Clearlake Oaks, moved over to the city of Clearlake before it was a city. We used to call it Clearlake Highlands in 1977. Went all the way through Canocta Unified School District, graduated from Lower Lake High School, and then went on to college using our local JC system. Went to Yuba College, got my degree there, and then went on to Sac State, where I got my bachelor's of science. As the moderator indicated, I worked for the Lake County Sheriff's Office for a little over 24 years. I volunteered prior to that for 2.5 years. And I got a lot of experience, in community, got a lot of experience, obviously, with law enforcement, budgets, dealing with personnel issues, conducting internal affairs investigations, conducting a lot of criminal investigations. Things that concern me in the city of Clearlake is we need to protect those who can't protect themselves, our children, our seniors, and those that are disabled. That's what I bring to the table in that regard. I remember taking half an hour before you could leave Ford's Variety Center, walking past the A&W, past Candyman, to get to Jules Golf when I was a kid, because we were so busy. And I know that we can do that again. I am very much for the regional shopping center that will bring investors into our city, that will bring money that will add to our city budget. I'm very interested in revitalization of the Lakeshore Drive corridor and Olympic corridor for business, and I have some pretty, I think, good ideas in that regard. Over the summer, we had some concerns because, unfortunately, the parks budget didn't allow for a new pump to be purchased, and our lawns died right before the 4th of July holiday. I'd like to see a little more funding for the parks. I'd also like to see some community involvement, maybe even through our civic clubs, in an Adopt a Park program. We need to get our parks looking sharp so that people come to visit, want to stay here, want to spend their money in our town. And we used to have bass tournaments. We used to have car shows. We used to have all types of things. I'd like to see a street dance maybe once a month in the city of Clearlake to bring our community back together. Business association needs to work hand in hand with the chamber in advertising, and we need to bring these things to our town because that's going to bring jobs. My son's 19 years old, was looking for a job with a steady schedule, and what he could find was weed cutting, other odd jobs this past summer.
Excuse me, but that's your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Spatier?
My name is Bruno Sabatier. I've lived in this community for 7 years, and I've been very active in this community for the past 5 years. And in the past 5 years, I feel that I've made a large impact to the community that I belong to. My wife was born and raised here in Lower Lake, is part of this community. My mother-in-law owns a local mom and pop shop in Lower Lake, and I have children that go to the public schools here. I've been dedicated to my wife for 13 years. My job, the same job for the past 12 years. I'm dedicated to my children who are 7 and 4, and I'm dedicated already to this community and will continue to be dedicated to this community as long as I stay here. If I am voted into this office, I will continue that dedication and loyalty by working for you so that I can bring jobs here and so that families can feel safe and comfortable to walk their children around in the streets, in our parks, go shopping, and be safe. Right now, that is not what I am hearing from the people that live here. A lot of people are feeling very nervous about the direction that we are heading. We all see the code enforcement issues that we have all around us. While there is Measure R on the ballot, it also has a sunset clause, and that means that it will not last forever. So we need to make sure we find out now how it is that we can get code enforcement funding, because either it will not pass or it will have a sunset, and either way we need to find the money. And I know that I have that ability, and I've already offered the council on how it is that they can get code enforcement, and I'm the guy that knows the budget in and out. I've gone through it. I worked on Measure H. I tried to get that passed for us, and it did not work, and we worked hard on that. We had a large group, probably one of the most organized groups that worked on that. I'm asking for your vote tonight. I'm there every single time at the council meetings because I want to work for you.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Hello, my name is Quincy Jackson. I've lived in Clearlake about 7 years. I'm running for city council because I believe that we need to strengthen our city services. Also would like to attract quality businesses, and also that brings good paying jobs. I also would like to see streets and sidewalks here funded, our infrastructure improved. And these are a few things that I would like to do while on city council. Also, I want to bring our computer system in City Hall up to the 21st century. Our staff is working with outdated equipment. Our police officers don't have computers in their cars, so they have to go back to the police station to do reports, which is less man hours out on the streets where we need them. So these are a few things that I would like to do right away in the city of Clearlake. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, we've got quite a number of questions here, and due to the fact that we've got so many candidates, I would appreciate it if you could keep your answers as short as possible, though we will allow you 3 minutes apiece to answer each one. But like I said, we can get through more if we keep the conversation going here. Anyway, the first question is, while city revenues remain nearly flat, expenses are rapidly rising, mainly due to employee health care costs and the police retirement fund. What steps would you recommend the city take to solve this ongoing problem? And we'll start with
I'm going to pass on that. Okay.
You're going to pass. Okay. Mr. Pasonen?
I'd start by not turning down companies that want to come into our community. We need jobs here in order to create tax revenue. If you shoot down every single company that wants to come in, and we shoot down jobs where people actually make money and they're not on welfare, and then we're also shooting down tax money that our community really, really needs. I think the people that have been making the decisions for a while have kind of gotten away from the idea of when you have growth in population, that you have to get away from growth in infrastructure. You have to have business here. So that's pretty much what I would do to get rid of that.
All right, thank you. Mr.
Jobs.
Russell?
Jobs are huge.
Or
I understood, Phil.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're on a first name basis. I just met him tonight. The emphasis is on bringing jobs, bringing investors, getting that regional shopping center going. I don't know if it's not really common knowledge, but over 50% of the city budget comes from Walmart. If we had had that regional shopping center up and running, that would give us additional revenue that we can invest in our infrastructure here in the city, and also that could help to go for wages and benefits for our city staff. We currently have Measure P, not the one you'll be voting on in November, but one that came through with an overwhelming majority in support of our law enforcement. Having that background, I would like to work with the chief and his command. I'd like to see what we can do more for the city. It's all about service. Service is the only thing that a city employee can give his community or her community, and I want to make sure that we're maximizing that and we have that attitude and a fresh attitude within our city staff. I've had reason to call the police department, request a crime report, and there was no officer to respond. Again, I understand the law. It was a misdemeanor felony. I thought I deserved somebody to come out and at least take a look at it. I was told to come in and get a report. I was part of a program when we had to do mail-in reports because staffing levels were so low. It isn't what works. It doesn't get information into the hands of the officers who are trying to suppress crime. People, when they feel safe in their town, businesses want to come and invest. People want to go out and with their families and go to Tonkaland and golf.
that's time.
Why, thank you, Phil.
Thanks. Mr. Spatier?
I think all options should always be on the table as far as how it is that we can solve our problems. Some options obviously are not as welcome as others, but they should always be laid out on the table. Healthcare is an issue for everybody. It's an issue for our school districts, it's an issue for us personally, and it's definitely an issue for us at the city level. From what I understand, we offer a very great benefit package to our staff workers. Does it mean it needs to be reviewed? Possibly. Same thing with the pension plan. Does it need to be reviewed? It has taken cities down in the past. San Diego is a great prime example of this. We cannot let expenditures take over and surpass our revenues. We need to be careful. However, on the other side, there's the revenue. You can increase that through taxes, which we know we're having difficulties doing here in this town right now. Or we can expand the tax base. And part of that tax base is the airport property, expansion of businesses, trying to offer and market our community to make it seem very attractive to others to come here. It's very possible. We have a beautiful place here. And if we started cleaning up by adding more code enforcement and also getting more collaboration between the city and the Chamber of Commerce, there can be some great things coming up here in the future.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I agree with the fellow candidates here. I believe we need to attract quality business here, which will increase our tax revenue. I don't believe in taxing the people to pay for it in this community, but I do believe if we bring other business here, if we improve our results, which is a TOT tax that we can get, utilize our natural resource out there, this lake, having great tournaments here, inviting people here to come here. I believe these are all ways to raise funds for our city without raising taxes. And that's my main thing, bringing businesses here.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, and I think we'll start with Mr. Passonen this time, is the city can save over $300,000 per year by using the same dispatch system the sheriff, Lakeport Police, and fire departments use. What do you think of that idea?
I think you always have to grow. As times grow and technology grows, you have to grow with it. We do need to create jobs in order to create the money to come in for it. I mean, without jobs and new business, we do not have revenue. It's as simple as that. You have to grow with it, so we need it.
Okay, I'm not sure.
I think I understood what you said, right?
I'm not quite sure you understood the question. Are you in favor of outsourcing the dispatch service of the police department?
Not outsourcing it, but I think that we can put a new system in for ourselves. You're saying $300,000 by outsourcing. If we put something in new for ourselves, which would come with jobs and creating tax revenue for us.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Mr. Purdock?
Thank you for the question. I'm all for outsourcing if it's going to save money and bring a better service to the city of Clearlake. What people may not know is the City of Clearlake Dispatch Center was the top priority as a secondary PSAP, which means that would be our secondary 911 call center should anything happen to the main dispatch center in Lakeport, be it fire, earthquake, whatever. The chief is currently, I think, a little bit reluctant in doing that because each of his dispatchers would need to be cross-trained as fire dispatchers. So then if that event ever happened, they transferred all 911 calls to the city of Clearlake, then they would be able to handle all the 911 calls for fire and ambulance. I think that's very important. It also brings additional grant monies into the city to update all those systems in 911 Service Center. Now, by conglomerating and bringing these two entities together, that's going to cut down in time. What happens when a person from Clearlake calls 911 is they have to explain to the 911 dispatcher what their event is, what help they need, and where they live, and from there the dispatcher transfers them back to the city of Clearlake if it's a law enforcement issue. So then they have to regurgitate that same information, so the dispatch times are increased. So for service, for public protection and safety, I strongly believe that we should bring that secondary PSAP program into the city of Clearlake. It's better for everyone countywide.
Thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Sabatier?
And I believe what the question is do we want to forego our dispatch system here in Clearlake and use the county one? Am I correct, Phil?
Right.
Okay. Right now, our calls almost equate exactly what the Sheriff's Center receives. And to double what they have is a difficult task to take on. As well as there's a personal connection between the dispatchers and the officers that they have. And by having a dispatcher here locally and understanding our police officers, there's something that is going to be lost if we take that on into the county. There's also the fact that that door at the police station is open 24 hours a day, and it is the dispatchers that are there to help you if you buzz that button. We would lose that. We would not have anybody in that office to be able to help us 24 hours a day. I think there are benefits from having a dispatch here. However, just like I was saying earlier, all options should be on the table. I have discussed the possibility with the police chief, with the sheriff, about changing our dispatch situation. I believe what we have right now is working the best for us, for our city, but I'm still open for suggestions and I'm open for more information.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, a simple answer, no. I don't think we should outsource out to the county. I believe that we should have it right here. I do believe that we should have our dispatcher cross-trained, because if we do have an emergency, which we notice is California, earthquakes happen all the time, we need a secondary system here in Lake County, and I believe our services already is quite some time to get a police response, so I wouldn't want to double that time at all. So simple answer is no.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Yes, I agree with that, that we should not outsource them, that we need a local dispatch. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, and I think we'll start with Mr. Purduck on this one, is how can the city attract more small businesses to Lakeshore Boulevard?
That's a great question. First, we need to have people that want to shop here. We need to have people, instead of turning right on Highway 29 at 53 and heading over the hill to Santa Rosa, they want to turn left to come into the city of Clearlake. Again, regional shopping center is going to help do that. We need to look at a good business plan. Again, working with the chamber, working with the business association. We're having conversation about this just the other night. We don't have a stationery store. We don't have a lot of different businesses here that our community needs. And the reason that some of these businesses aren't coming here is because we don't have a lot of that outside influence. They'll come to Safeway and they may go to Walmart to shop, but are they coming down Lakeshore Drive? And we need to do some things that are going to attract that. And I think that's by reaching out, working with the chamber, marketing ourselves, not just as a city of Clearlake, but I also think we need to market ourselves as a county. And again, just to kind of close out on the prior question, I absolutely believe that the dispatch should stay here in the city of Clearlake.
All right, thank you. Mr. Spadier?
In order to attract local businesses on Lakeshore Drive, we need to make our parks attractive. We need to make our streets clean without garbage flying around when the wind picks up. We need to have our streets looking safe and comfortable for people to want to walk from shop to shop, for a store to want to come in and say, yes, I will be successful, because there's a huge line of people walking down this street. Right now, that's not what we have, and we need to change our behavior. And our behavior starts with green parks, clean environments, and proactive policing. I would love to see a police officer that drives back and forth on Lakeshore Drive from park to park. And I realize this is a funding issue, but this can still be done, and it used to happen in the past. And another one is, even if we have the airport property up over at the, if the airport property gets put into a shopping center, that doesn't necessarily bring people downtown. We still need a magnet down here. And I know that it's a dream and it's a vision and there's no promises made, but I'm working on this. We need a complex with a swimming pool downtown to bring people, families, youth, seniors, everybody to our downtown area, where then afterwards they want to go to our Austin Park Beach. Afterwards they want to go shopping at our local shops. We need those types of attractions, or else it'll be very difficult to attract new local businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I believe improving our aging infrastructure on Lakeshore Drive will help attract quality businesses here. I believe if we had sidewalks, proper lighting, we would have a lot of businesses here. I believe that we need to reach out to business here and let them know. The city is currently doing that. I'm letting them know we have this lot here available, we have these buildings available, attracting them. I think we need to have more fairs and events that attract people here, which also in turn bring businesses. If they see that it's a booming little town, businesses will come here. And I think it's all about cleaning up our Lakeshore Drive and Olympic corridor.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
I think that if we improve our property values, it gives the city more revenue, more tax dollars. And so I think that we need to pave the streets to increase the property values and to make this a much finer city to live in. I've been talking to Granite Construction, and they're telling me that they will sell us asphalt for $80 a ton. And if we pave a 2-inch strip 20 foot wide up the center of these dirt streets, it will cost $12,000 for the asphalt to pave a typical city block that is 600 feet long. That's 12 50-foot lots on each side of the street. $12,000 for the asphalt is not that expensive. Now, there are other costs there, grading and rock and everything, but the city has graders, and the city has a dump truck, and the city has backhoes, and it has employees. So I think that's very important that the city focus on the pavement of the 49 miles of dirt streets in the city of Clearlake. And there's some really shocking ways that the money is being spent. I'd like to show you right here. Here is a warrant that's been approved by the city of Clearlake here that allows the city council members to spend $500 a night to live in luxury hotels. Here it is. This is Joey Lewis 3 times here, spending $500 a night to stay in the Marriott and the Bonaventure hotels. Now, you can see this on your internet if you go to the city site and you punch in warrants. So it's very surprising how they're spending money, and the city council is approving these expenditures. Oh,
Okay, excuse me, Mr. Walton. I think we're straying a bit from the core of that question, and I think that was 3 minutes. Mr. Passon?
In order to help bring in tourism and stuff like that back to our city streets, I do believe getting sidewalks, and I know our new lighting system that's supposed to be going in pretty soon, that'll help with stuff like that. But I think having a full guideline of what our businesses should look like, and you can't have weeds growing up 3-4 feet in front of your business, and having code enforcement will help us enforce stuff like that. But I think the city council can come together with an idea of what businesses should really look like. I mean, if businesses look nice, people will stop more often. They will spend a little bit more money. The tax revenue will start coming up. If you see growth in an area, more businesses will want to come in. But just reaching out once in a while doesn't really happen. Doing a good thing and making it clean and nice, it will get better. It will look nicer. I mean, I've gone through Cloverdale for the last 45 years, and if anybody else been through there, it's getting better and better and better. And it's a small community like us. It's kept clean as you're driving through town. Businesses want to go in there. Businesses want to grow with you. I think that's a good answer.
All right, thank you. Okay, our next question is, what do you see as the best possible use of the Pierce Field property, and how would you help to make it happen? Mr. Sabatier?
And just to make sure you're talking about the airport property, correct?
Right, Pierce Field.
Yes. Ever since I've been here, I've always heard it as the airport property. But Pierce Field, we need to be open for suggestions. I know a lot of people are thinking shopping center, and I'm thinking shopping center, but we're in the internet age where a lot of people are shopping online. Is that really going to last 20 years? We need to think this through about how is this going to affect us 20 years from now. I know I've heard people talk about call centers. Again, every time I call somebody, I seem to get their home and not an actual office. So again, is that going to last us for the next 20 years? I would like to see it develop with multiple different things, entertainment as well as shopping, as well as something that's please a little more attractive to Highway 53 when people are passing by, to want to stop in Clearlake and say, wow, what's this right here? I want to stop by. I'd like to see some of the things that are still there be revitalized. We have a racetrack that is still there. It can still be used if somebody actually places themselves there as a place of business and makes that be active. We still have stuff that is there that is usable. We don't have to start from scratch. We do need more tax dollars, so we do need to look for more revenue and more businesses to be there. But is the shopping center the answer? I'm not sure. I'm open to the suggestions, but we need to really think about where we're going to be 20 years from now. Technology is changing the way we live, the way we behave, and I'm not 100% sure what my answer is on that. As I think more on it, it's difficult to say what it is that we need, and I think we need to focus on all of the city as well as the airport and not just the airport property.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Yes. I'd like to see something that creates jobs there. with Prop 48, if that passes here in November, I would like to see a casino there with a hotel and a restaurant, to be honest. I would love to see that here. Anything that creates jobs, a plant, some type of industrial plant that thousands of people are unemployed. I would like to see something that create jobs on that property. That's what this community needs, and I think that's the best way to go at this time. Anything that could produce a job, any type of plant, any type of casino, restaurant, hotel, anything.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton.
Yes, I'd like to see uses made out of the airport property that do not duplicate some of the C2 zoning on Lakeshore Boulevard. For example, we have a community will only support so many banks and so many grocery stores and so many liquor stores and so many beauty salons. And we have this area at the airport and it's zoned C4 for commercial uses. That's heavy, noisy commercial uses. And I think we need that. If you go to the University of Southern California, they have, University of California, Berkeley, they have a land use planning program. And they will tell you that you can only have these C2 type businesses and then you max out the community. You need jobs that are based on industrial type uses. So that property is zoned for industrial, right? We need to bring that kind of industry there.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pasonin.
With the airport land there, I think that we definitely need to do something that's going to bring in jobs, create revenue, help our city out with taxes. Ideas been thrown around from casinos to everything else. We definitely have a lot of youth in our area that need a little bit more to do. One thing I get involved with is AAU basketball, and one thing I've been looking at doing around here, and I've brought it to one of the city council meetings before, would be a basketball complex. We have about 30 teams in our county that travel out of county, spend $300 a team to play, and about $500 to $600, $800 a family for a weekend to watch our kids play out of county. It's a huge revenue that we're losing. Places we go to generate $100,000 to $250,000 a month at least with these things. Plus, it's also something great for the kids to do. We can also hold leagues. We can do just about any other sport you can think of inside of these complexes. Restaurants, hotels, and everything will go in next to them. A lot of the places that we go, 9 or 10 hotels completely book out every single weekend all year round just because of these sports complexes. It's something great for the kids and it's something great for the community. Businesses will flock to these things. You don't even have to go out and tell them, hey, will you come here? Just say, hey, I'm doing this. Where do you want to build?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Burdick.
Thank you. I really believe that we need to develop that airport as Piercefield. I remember it because I'm old. Now, whether it needs to be a Lowe's or a Home Depot, I don't agree with that. I think maybe something like a Marshall's or a Ross's, Dress for Less, something that will bring people down. I shop online too, Bruno, but I know that some people like to try their clothes on and see if they fit before they buy them. And some of my purchases online haven't worked out so well. So I see that. What that's going to bring is an anchor store. And with that anchor store is going to come a Walgreens, a Starbucks, for goodness sakes, and maybe some other little shops that we can use and benefit from. But we're looking at jobs, Phil, from construction and the development. Planning department is going to have a whole lot to say about landscaping and beautifying that area so that 53 corridor is looking nice. We want people, again, to turn into that shopping center, but what they can't find there, maybe they're going to run down Lakeshore Drive to see what the other shops have to offer. I couldn't agree more. I think we're overwhelmed with secondhand shops, even some smoke shops. We seem to have a lot of those. And what do we want to bring into our town? Is the folks that, what are they shopping for? A casino, I worry about the casino because I worry about taxes. Are we sure that we're going to get all the taxes that casino might offer as a private business? I don't think so. And the other thing that I worry about is we've seen how the casinos have hurt our other restaurants and the things that they offer, hotels, that type of thing, for entertainment. On the flip side, when Walmart came to town and they had a tire center, a lot of folks that were in the tire business thought that was going to impact them. What they found is business actually picked up because people were shopping. Instead of shopping in Lakeport, going over the hill to Santa Rosa, they were buying local and they were shopping local. So we really need to look closely at this. I agree with my other candidates here and see what is the best fit for our community.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is a three-part question, so think about this for a moment before you answer. Water tests made at Austin Park determined that levels of cyanotoxins are thousands of times higher than recommended for swimming and activities in the lake. What would you recommend the city do to inform their citizens of this potential health threat? What would you do to improve the lake? And do you support Measure S? And we'll start with Mr. Jackson.
I think if the water is testing at a high level that is unsafe for animals or humans, the city should, one, post it on their website. I believe they should post it publicly where people that may not on the website have it. I think there should be flags out notifying that the lake is hazardous at this time. As far as support Measure S, I am in support of Measure S. I don't think that's going to solve all the problems with our lake here. We have some severe issues here, but it is a start in the right direction to help this lake. I read on the coagula mussel, if that thing gets in this lake here, you could go ahead and say pack up and leave. There will be no point in living in this area. The lake will be ruined forever. But we need to do more with that Measure S, such as planting tulies and things that can help filter it out and open up the dam more. They will help keep the lake flowing. I also believe that we should do regular testing, not only when we see the blooms, but when we don't see the blooms due to the fact that it doesn't go away. So I am for Measure S.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton.
I also am in favor of Measure S. I think we need to protect that lake. So I think that's very important.
Okay, Mr. Pasona.
I'm undecided on Measure S. I haven't quite looked at it all the way through yet. I don't know if one solution is the best solution on that, but I do know that our growing ordinances that we have around the county, we need to look at a little bit more, because the people that do cultivate marijuana, I think the runoff from that is definitely hurting our lake a lot more than a lot of people think and a lot of people want to admit. So I think other actions should be taken into place, not just Measure S. I think we really need to look at that seriously.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
Thank you. Measure S and supporting the lake, keeping the lake clean is paramount. We have to invest more money. That, in my opinion, is our bread and butter as a resort community. It's what people want to come and experience. It's beautiful to look at. The aquatic weeds, it seems kind of cyclical. As the lake clears up, the sunlight gets to the bottom, the weeds come up, and we've got boats with problems in intakes and with their props and all that. Sailboats can't navigate well through the weeds. We also have, obviously, the cyanobacteria with our latest little outbreak. Fortunately, it only lasts for a short period of time, but just like any other warning in any other jurisdiction, if there's a problem, if it's a health safety problem, we need to notify that. We can have them at the beaches. We can put it up on our website. We also need to be aware that, unfortunately, this is a natural occurrence in the lake, just like our algae is, and we just need to deal with that and mitigate it as best as possible. But again, we need to invest, and we must invest in our lake. It is one of our greatest resources here in Lake County.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
As far as when the lake tests high for the cyanobacteria, I think just like on the beaches on the West Coast, they put up flags. The red flags means warning, don't go in the water. There's different colored flags that we can use to really make this a public awareness campaign. Also the website, newspapers, all local media should all take part in making sure that the public is aware of what's going on, because that's a public safety issue, as well as an animal safety issue. What can the city do? I was thinking the other day that I'm kind of not wanting to say this is a Lake County jurisdiction and not a Clearlake jurisdiction. The lake affects us, whether or not we want to choose it to be a part of our jurisdiction. I think that it can become a part of a yearly activity, just like we have the cleanup, where we can get people to volunteer and help dredge the Burns Valley Creek. It is one of our major issues here in the Clear Lake area in the way that it affects the flow of water through that part of the lake. And I think that we can decide to take charge of it rather than allow it to just become a Lake County issue. Clearlake needs to take care of those things and help out with that. As far as Measure S, I'm still kind of neutral. I have certain issues with it. I had to sit down with Victoria Brandon, who tried to convince me. Not quite convinced yet. One of my issues is I had a meeting with Scott DeLeon, our Water Resource Department, who said that our Quagga Mussel program is already an exemplary program in the state. We're also looking at the difference between a public ramp and a private ramp, and how do you hold people accountable on their private ramps. We have had a beautiful lake the last 2 years, and that's because it hasn't rained. As soon as it starts raining normally, we probably will see algae, just like we've always seen algae here for the past 100 years. I think we need to make sure that all people, agricultural, residential, industrial, commercial, are held accountable when they are not following the laws to make sure our environment is as healthy as it can be. We're all in this together. We can't point at one person as being at fault, but we're all not helping the situation at all. Our dirt roads are not helping on the situation at all. There's many things we can do to attack this problem, at least from the Clearlake perspective.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is, some city staff are paid far more than their counterparts in the county and city of Lakeport, in spite of having far smaller budgets and or staffs to manage. Would you be in favor of a salary rate review and freeze to adjust those salaries to better reflect the market rate for that work?
Yes, I would.
Okay, well, thank you for your succinct answer. Not much wiggle room there. Mr. Pisoni.
I would definitely support something like that. I think that we definitely have to look at the surrounding communities and see how they handle themselves that are starting to thrive. And if we're having a problem with our budgets, we definitely need to go back to our budget and take a good look at it and see what we can do to make changes to better our community.
Thank you. Mr. Purdock?
Well, not to steal his thunder, but yes, I would. No, that's one of the key things, and one of the reasons I was asked to run, because I've had experience in that. Each of those positions need to be reevaluated. I personally don't believe we need a city manager. I think we need a city administrator. I believe that 3 votes will dictate whether a person stays or goes, and city council needs to have a little more authority. The city staff works for us, not us for them.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier?
I would definitely be willing to review any and all of the paid positions over city staff. I don't think we need to pinpoint any one specific person or department, but we do need to look it over. Are we getting the services that we are paying for? If we're not, then that needs to be reviewed, because that's why we pay taxes. We pay taxes not to have somebody have a salary, but so that we can receive a service so our community can be clean, comfortable, safe, and secure. A lot of people that I've been speaking to are not very comfortable with the way the community is providing services right now. This needs to be reviewed. I think that there should be appropriate pay. I don't think that, and I want to review those pays as the contracts expire, because at that point we should be able to open employment to refill those positions if those positions don't want to negotiate their pay.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I'm in favor of a review of all contracts and salaries that we have on current city staff.
Okay, great. Our next question is, how do you feel about the cannabis ordinance in Clearlake? Would you change it or keep it as it is, and why? Mr. Pisoni?
I myself, I'd probably definitely change it, and I think we definitely need to look at the future of our children in this area. I coach a lot of them, and I see them definitely reflected by the way that everybody's holding themselves nowadays. I know our state has made it legal. I also know that I've talked to people that have moved here from Colorado, and they can't believe how bad it is here compared to a place where it's actually 100% legal. Living in a community like this where everybody's directly affected by it, even if you don't grow it, I think we definitely need to look at how people are able to grow it and smoke it and everything else. I mean, it should be treated like a drug, because it still is, even though it's medical.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock?
Recognize the value of the medical marijuana or proposition that was passed in 2015. However, that is being exploited, and exploited terribly in our residential areas. Property values are declining. people's safety is diminished. And unfortunately, I don't believe the liability issue that has been explained to me by city staff, in the fact that if we collect plants, then we need to preserve them and maintain them for a possible pending court case. We need an ordinance that is easy to understand, black and white, and that will be enforced. And if elected and when elected to city council, that's exactly one of the things I want to do. Our water system shouldn't be impacted. Our family's health shouldn't be impacted when we have a boil ordinance or a boil notice, because we can't produce enough water for the demand, and we know what that demand is caused by. When you have hundreds of plants in a backyard, I also, Mr. Murphy, I'm not completely retired. I work as an insurance agent, and I have to go up into the avenues and out in the Gobi and around town taking pictures of homes before we insure them. And having a grow right next to you is a liability. And insuring a home with a grow is a liability because of home invasion issues and the rip and run issues that we've seen in the past. It brings a danger into the neighborhood, and that's not something that I can stomach. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sabatier.
I think it's very well obvious that we have an issue in this city and that our ordinance is not working for us. This is the first year that our ordinance is active, and I feel like we are having a worse issue of grows this year than we did last year. So it's very obvious the ordinance is not doing what it should have been doing. I personally like what the ordinance has inside. 6 plants minimum on a normal standard lot. I agree with medical marijuana. I do not agree with the grows that are above the minimum. I don't care if it's 7 or 10. 6 is your maximum. We need enforcement. That is our biggest issue right now. Here's what I propose we change. The fines. The fines are ridiculous. The first round of fines is $100 for the first fine. The second fine is $200. This third fine, and that's it, there's just 3, is $500. You might as well give us $1,000 in advance so you can grow 1,000 plants. What exactly does this do to prohibit them from wanting to grow? Here's the other one. If you grow 1,000 plants, we will be nice to you and say, can you please drop it down to 6 or whatever your minimum is. I can't go to the store, take a candy bar, walk out the store, and have the chance to go back in and pay for it. If you break the law and you grow more than the legal amount, you'll lose it all. That way next year, we can be sure that you will not grow more, because now there is a risk to grow more than the legal amount. We should not coddle a specific group of people because of lawsuits that we are hearing about in California. We can make this work. We can talk to lawyers. We can figure this out. We cannot allow people to grow 1,000 plants or whatever the number is next door, like I have in my neighborhood, where last year somebody got shot over it. This is not what my community needs to look like. This is not what your community needs to look like. And we can stand up and say, stop, by making sure we have something that can be enforced and not what we have currently. It needs to change, and that will be the first thing I change before the next season starts, because if we wait too long, we will have the same thing again next year.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Sabatier. I think our ordinance is fine, but we need to enforce the ordinance. I think that's the problem. The ordinance is not being enforced in this city at all. You can grow as many plants as you want, and we're told there's nothing that can be done. I also think that I spoke with much of the city staff here, and they all agree that we need to put some type of abatement process in there, and we need to have the police chief involved so he could put his input in what he needs to enforce this. I think we also need to speak with our district attorney. What do we need to enforce our ordinance and write an ordinance that can be enforced before the following growth season?
Thank you. Mr. Walton.
I try to keep an open mind with respect to marijuana. I have no dealings with any part of that. But if some people benefit from it medically, okay. But I would like to absolutely see a minimum of just a few plants. I myself, in another community, had 2 neighbors grow 500 plants apiece. That was 1,000 plants. And no sooner did the plants get big enough to where, you know, a little bit, and they armed themselves with handguns and would intimidate the neighbors by walking around with a handgun strapped to their sides. And it got worse. And so I am absolutely opposed to these large grows. If a few plants, if that helps someone medically, okay, fine, but not a large grow. It's too threatening. It causes too many problems. Oh, whatever it takes to get rid of them, okay.
All right, thank you. I'm going to take a little liberty here and ask a follow-up question to that question, and I'm going to ask that you keep your response limited to one word, either yes or no. All right? And the question is, are you happy with the current level of enforcement of the current city ordinance governing cannabis cultivation? Mr. Purdock?
No.
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 Mr. Walton?
No.
No.
Well, it's unanimous. Thank you. That was quick. All right. Our next question is, how important to you are good manners, being polite, giving respect to fellow city council members, and treating people respectfully? If elected, will you put personal issues aside and be respectful to the constituents you are elected to represent? Will you ignore bad behavior by fellow council persons, or will you discuss it with them? And I guess we're starting.
Is it me?
Pardon?
I'm not sure if it's me or not.
I believe.
It's me.
Yeah. Okay. It would be Mr. Sabatier. Thank you. Well, didn't we start with you on the last one?
No, Mr. Pisone.
You got
Okay.
the no first. You said no first.
Anyway, I'll start.
That would be fine.
We absolutely need governance. I think one of the things that is broken currently is, having attended several city council meetings, is there seems to be some personal attacks when people aren't agreeing or it doesn't go 100% their way. It appears that they want to take the ball and go home and not play anymore. We're not getting anything done. We absolutely have to work together, period. Whether or not I might agree with how the other 4 members of council votes, if it passes, I support it. We need to get business, and we need to get the business of the city rolling again. Whatever the issue may be, Phil, we have to work together. That's absolute.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier?
Well, I think the question you're asking has 2 separate issues that I can think of off the top of my head. One is the way that the council reacts to one another within the council, which Mr. Purdock just mentioned, and also the way that the council reacts to the public. I have seen snickering, I have seen eye rolls, I have seen long sighs when people stand up to the podium to state their opinions, concerns, or their anger towards something the city is or is not doing. The number one fear in America is public speaking. It takes a little bit of courage. Thank you. It takes a little bit of courage to step up to the microphone and to complain to the people you're staring at. To mock them or to belittle them any bit does not create a safe environment, and we need to create a safe environment for anybody that lives here, any resident, to stand up and express themselves. Right now, that is not the case. I have even seen children who attend council members laugh at those people that step up to the podium as well. We are not leading by example if we allow our children to learn that it's okay to mock other people in our community. As far as between council members, we can disagree all we want. I don't agree with everybody up here, but I will shake their hand and say hello no matter where I see them, what the situation is, because that's the way we should all treat one another. And I think that's something we should have all learned when we were growing up. But that's not what we are seeing. Even in the last council meeting that we just saw, this occurred between public and between council members. We need to not make these things be personal. We're here to represent the public. We are not here to represent ourselves or let our ego get in the way.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
I think we always need to be respectful to one another, whether we agree or not, especially on council. It's always should be a respect level there as a human. That's just the way I was brought up, and it's real simple. You must respect each other, whether I agree with you or not. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Walton?
I think that's very important. We have to be polite. It doesn't work any other way. I mean, you have to respect other people's views, and you have to let them speak and let their views be known. And it doesn't work. None of that other stuff works. We have to be respectful. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Persona.
I will always treat everybody around me with respect. That's the way I was raised. I coach with youth sports and dealing with parents, kids, everything else. You have to keep a level mind, and anytime you're doing anything, city council, marriage, anything else, you work as a team. You have to come up with ideas. You may not agree with each other. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree and go about your ways. You can't hold grudges for certain little things. Don't let your emotions overtake you.
Okay, thank you. I'm kind of wondering if this would be a good time to take a brief intermission. So I think we're going to give you a little rest here and give you a chance to regroup and maybe get something to drink or eat. And we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
It was the tax already.
I did not have it, so I brought my own.
I've been asked to tell people that would like to engage in cigarette smoking that they're going to have to basically leave the premises off the property to do that. Thank you.
You know what? The longer it is, the more loopholes there is.
Okay, folks, looks like we're going to get ready to resume our forum here. If everyone could take their seat, please.
Do they have a history? Then there's a chance of that.
Testing. They're still
What's that?
They're still on. Watch out.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not going to say anything about Mr. Putin.
Here we go again.
Did you see my note?
Oh, your microphone is on much louder than last time.
No, because
Easy.
I'm loud.
All of us?
How's this?
thank you.
Should I shout?
No shouting.
Okay.
That's a cup.
What the time? You messed with me earlier.
At least you didn't go down.
All right, thank you. You know, the first thing I'd like to do is to congratulate the audience. I mean, to get a turnout like this when there's a 49ers game on is just amazing.
Anybody know the score by
No,
chance?
Don't
say
remind
the
me.
score. Don't say the score. I'm recording it.
No, really, that's impressive. That's a good sign that there's so many local citizens that actually care about what's going on in their community and want to be informed about what's going on. So, good job, everyone. Thank you. Okay, and I also want to, while I've got an opportunity, to remind people that the Clearlake Youth Center is open for the after-school program between 2 and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. On Thursday night, they have boxing starting at 6:30, archery every Wednesday night starting at 5 p.m., and there'll be a trunk or treat on October 31st, starting with a parade on Lakeshore Drive at 3:45 at Highlands Park across from Lake Appliance, and the parade starts at 4 p.m., ending at the Youth Center for the trunk or treat event. Haunted houses, vehicles decorated and filled with candy, games, and prizes. So hope everyone will be able to participate in that. And I also want to remind people that the sponsor of tonight's event is Lake County Magazine with SSS Multimedia and LCM TV. And they ask that if you record this for your personal use, that's okay, but any broadcast of this production on the internet, television, or any other source without the express written permission of SSS Multimedia, LCM TV, and or Lake County Magazine or the parent company is forbidden and will be considered a copyright infringement. Thank you. Okay, so with that out of the way, we'll get back to the questions here. And I forget exactly who we left off with. Okay, thank you for reminding us. So I guess we'll start with Mr. Jackson and the first, sorry, Mr.
I'll be Mr. Jackson.
Are you sure you have permission? Okay, Mr. Sabatier, now that we've got your identity confirmed, the city of Clearlake spends around $1 million per year more on its police force than Lakeport does, but is only able to field about the same number of patrol officers. Now it hopes to get more revenues from Measure R when they already have Measure P income. What steps do you believe the city should take to improve the cost effectiveness of its police force?
I'd almost like to take the reverse steps. I don't think the police force necessarily needs more or continue. I want them to continue receiving what they receive. They have a lot of overtime, and that's one of the reasons why, compared to Lakeport, we have so many more calls. We have so many more calls than Lakeport does. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are, but I know that in the city of Clearlake, our calls are equal to the per capita to Oakland. Not necessarily the same crimes, but definitely the same number of calls per capita. And so I want to do the reverse. I don't think we need to increase our police force. I don't think we need to give them more other than technology and efficiencies. But we need to fix it from the reverse. We need to make our town more friendly. We need to have code enforcement clean up. All of these things reduce crime. If we can help build more sports leagues through the Parks and Rec that was just reinstated, then we can have our children and young adults be more active in what's happening in the community. If we can help to create more events for the community to come to, that will also make build our community, take pride in our community, and decrease our crime. All of these things can be done. They are already being done. They can be continued. They can be increased. And all of those things help with crime. We don't need to fight crime on the police side. We don't need more of our residents to be arrested than they already are or to be fined than they already are. We need to uplift them so they will not resort to crime, so our police department will no longer have to deal with them in that sense.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Wow. At last I checked, the last time I heard, our overtime is about $10,000 pay period, I believe it was, or roughly. So we're spending about $120,000 or somewhere like that a year just in overtime, and I think that needs to be addressed. I also feel that to help with the police department, I think everyone could agree here, the police department needs help. We need more manpower out there. We can't argue with that. This city, on average, we have 3 to 4 officers per shift. That's just not enough for our residents. We have 16,000 down in Clearlake. But what we can do, because we do have a budget issue, is that we need to expand our volunteer and policing program, I believe. I believe that we expand that. I believe that each officer, or certain officers are assigned to certain parts of the city. What I would like to see is them to get the people that's assigned to certain districts or areas of this community, start a neighborhood watch program so we could start helping with our police department, because it is an issue. I believe if we had a president with volunteer policing walking through the community, I believe instead of the guys patrolling all the time just from the office, I believe if every now and then, there's nothing going on, if they just take a walk up our business district or walk through the avenues of the park, I think that will reduce crime, meaning we need less manpower just getting out and walking the beat every now and then, have the police car at the beginning of the street. In case of emergency, they could get to their vehicle to respond, but just walk around some of these neighborhoods and use them volunteering. I think that's how we could cut our police budget. No, I do not think we should expand our police budget at all. Not at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Okay. All right. I don't want for you to misunderstand, but I studied the administration of justice in college. So I want to support the police department. I absolutely want to support them. We need them. We need them very badly. However, I am not pleased with what's going on. We have a great number of individuals who have removed the mufflers from their Harley Davidsons, and when they drive up and down Lakeshore Boulevard and Old Highway 53, they disturb the peace and quiet of thousands of persons every time. That is wrong. They are so blatant that they drive right past the police department, and the police don't do anything about it. Now, how much money does it cost for them to get out and to cite these guys? So what I'm saying is a big part of the problem lies in the police chief himself. Okay? It's his will whether they're enforcing these laws or not. That's not right. There's a lot of issues like that. Oh, I'm not happy with that. We need to do something with the police chief or replace him.
All right, thank you. Mr. Person?
I kind of agree with Sabatier over there. Is that how you say it? Perfect. Okay. We definitely have a high crime rate here, and that's why our officers right now are overtaxed. They have too many calls. They have too much going on. But one way we can actually supersede that and not tax our people with Measure R is to actually create jobs, bring in jobs, create more tax dollars for our city. By doing that, the city will have more money to pay more cops to be able to get rid of crime. By cleaning up our streets, by getting the street lights that the city council's already gotten and passed, the PG&E is already paying for them. They're going to be put in hopefully in the next few years here. And bring a little bit more light to our main roads, cut down on a little bit of crime, they'll have a lot less calls. there are things in effect that are going to help our police officers out by not having as many calls. I mean, wouldn't you guys think there would be a lot less crime if we had lights down Lakeshore Drive and Olympic Drive? It's going to get better. Making the right decisions between now and then is going to help out. There's not one little thing that's going to help it out, but a lot of little things that will definitely get it going.
Thank you. Mr. Purdock.
Thank you. The understanding of community-oriented policing is nothing new. It's reaching out to the community. It's opening the doors and letting them come in and see how the police department works. With Prop P, Measure P, we were hoping to get one officer for every 500 residents within the city limits of Clearlake. I was a member of the sheriff's office when we brought the highway patrol into the city of Clearlake, and I often operated in specific task force as the supervisor in charge over the, we'd call them a sweep, and we would come in and do our sweeps within not just the city of Clearlake, but we also worked in other towns. What happens is you get that criminal element under control, but it has to do with working at really the smaller end of things, Phil, in that there's an old philosophy of no broken windows. If cops take care and they want to clean up a community, they are looking at and investigating even the smallest of crimes. And what that does is it lets you know who your criminal element is when you're out there on the streets working and interacting with them, when you're out of your car, walking and talking to business owners, talking to the kids at the skate park. That gets you known to them and them known to you. One of the great things that just happened is we now have a school resource officer working in Canocti Unified, and Canocti Unified is sharing some of the cost of that. That's fantastic. I'd like to see more programs along those lines. But what I'd like to work with the chief of police is they are being paid more than Lakeport. I think a lot of the overtime issues has to do with the fact that we have to send our cops up to Lakeport for court. Unfortunately, we lost our South Lake court, and our citizens have to travel up to Lakeport to address any grievances that they have with the court. As a city council member, I don't have much say in that, but I sure would like to at least impress upon the county judicial and state judicial that we need to have our court back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next question is, besides increased code enforcement, what can the city do to encourage homeowners to improve the appearances of their property and neighborhoods? Mr. Jackson.
Besides code enforcement?
Yeah.
I think information, getting it out to the people. If we don't want to use the code enforcement, helping them. I'm sorry. Helping the people. Right. I think we need to help the people. Let them know programs. Let them know when we have tire dump centers or days or cleanup days. Get volunteers to help them clean up their property. Inform them of what the current code is. A lot of people don't even know that you can't have certain things in your front yard or fences too tall. So we can, by informing the people and actually going out and giving them other ways of doing it, that's how we can do it without using code enforcement.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton.
You know, I think the senior librarian at the city's library had a very interesting statement that he made to me one day. He said that the biggest problem that he saw in patrons of the library was a medical problem. And the second biggest problem was that the person had a legal problem. Now, with respect to the medical problem, we can see that in this community, because of the lower real estate values, there are a lot of people that come here to take advantage of them, and they may very well have a medical problem that impacts their earning ability. Now, with respect to code enforcement, levying $500 a day fines against those persons for each citation, and then refusing to admit any evidence without them paying $880 within 15 days, that's going to break a lot of people. And I already sued the city of Clearlake, arguing in federal district court that the former police chief, Robert Chalk, had acquired an interest in 54 properties in this county, and the former mayor, Ed Roby, had acquired an interest in 24 properties in this county. And the federal courts are so corrupt that there was 26 federal judges assigned to the San Francisco Federal District Courthouse, and they transferred the case rather than hear it to Oakland. And Oakland was so corrupt, they transferred it 200 miles away to Eureka. And and I disqualified the federal judge, and he transferred it back to San Francisco and then corruptly dismissed it.
All right, that's 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Pisoni.
You kind of threw me off. What was the question again?
Okay, we're basically wondering, besides code enforcement, what can the city do to encourage homeowners to improve the appearances of their property and neighborhoods?
I mean, if people don't want to take pride in what they have, I mean, other than code enforcement, there's not a lot you can do about it. I know that it does increase the value of the properties near you if you keep your property clean and nice. But without code enforcement, it's going to make it very hard for us. I think code enforcement itself should be able to pay for itself with its fines that it does create, not attach them to the property as a lien. They should actually attach it to the homeowner's taxes. That will make them do things a little bit faster.
All right, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
We have a real mess, and unfortunately, people don't self-govern. They need the city to come and encourage them. So oftentimes by having a visit, it doesn't necessarily require a citation, simply a notice of violation, encouraging them to clean up their property. This also can create jobs. There's a lot of folks, perhaps even unskilled folks, who can make dump runs, who can weed eat, who can help paint and clean up the properties that are identified by the code enforcement. I know you really didn't want us to mix this, but this is why it's so important to pass Measure R. We need to have that help. We need to have that seed money. That's why there's a sunset clause that lets it go away in 10 years, because we have burned out homes in our town that have been sitting there for years and years that haven't been abated, not because they're not red tagged, not because they're not a danger to the kids that live in that community, but because we don't have the money to pay for the abatement. And that's huge. So how do you get people to clean up their homes? I'm worried about children. There are children living in homes in this town that don't have power, that don't have water. You can see them here at this park, right next to this building, collecting water in gallon jugs to take home because they don't have water in their homes. These are the things that we need to watch over, and their parents or grandparents or other family members that they're living with, they're not doing it themselves. So what can the city do to encourage that? I really don't know that that's possible, just knowing human nature.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
I'm going to say something similar that I said when speaking with somebody here during the break. Sometimes you have to create the right incentives. I think that human nature is that we are competitive. And if we can maybe work with the Chamber of Commerce or Rotary or any other group, we could probably create some kind of competition for most improved house. We'll take a picture and we'll give you some sort of reward for doing so. The most beautiful house, the most original looking house, just to try to get people to clean up and do something in their yard. And I know from experience that I've seen this. When I fix my house up, my neighbor looks at my house and says, wait a minute. Mine doesn't look so good over here. And next thing I know, I see my neighbor working on their house. And then the other neighbors next to them working on their house. It's a domino effect. We just need to get that incentive to get it started. After that, I think it's a natural flow. I think that's how it works. Other ideas that I just jotted down just off the top of my head is to possibly even try an assessment district where it can help us get the first initial funding to do a loan program to renovate homes, where eventually we get paid back and we can give it to another home and be renovated. And I think they have something similar right now, but it's very slow process in the way that it's being delivered. Maybe a lottery of which community in our city will receive a couple huge garbage bins donated from either our county or from the Clearlake Waste Solution, so that everybody could just bring their garbage bags and throw it into that dumpster. Right now what we do is we have everybody come down to Austin Park. That's a little tough if you're in the avenues or if you're in the parks. So we need to start doing a lottery to hand out some of those cleanups rather than just always having it in the same place. And since I have a little bit of time left over, I'm going to go back to the police question.
I think you got your 3 minutes there.
I'll try it later.
All right. Mr. Jackson.
I already answered.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry. We've already got back to the start again. Thank you for reminding me. All right. Well, you're going to get the... oh, wait. You started the last one. Okay, so we're starting with Mr. Walton again. All right. What in the city's budget would you increase, and what would you subtract to balance the increase, if anything?
I'm sorry, what would you subtract from the?
All right, basically, assuming that you had to have a balanced budget, is there anything that you see in the current city budget that you think should be increased or decreased?
Yes, I think there is something very much that needs to be decreased. We're spending a tremendous amount of money on lawyers, a lot of money. Now, with respect to Measure R, I filed papers opposing Measure R, and the city attorney actually lied on public television and said that there was no measure filed against Measure R. There was one filed. It was 2,500 words, and it was too many words, so they refused to put it on the ballot. So this is what we're spending all this money for lawyers to act so biasedly that he would actually lie to the public on television? So that's something I think we need to address. I think if you look at the warrants here, well, I think in some months we've spent $10,000 on attorney's fees. That's too much money for these lawyers, and especially when they're not honest.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pisonin.
I actually haven't had time to go over the budget. I can't say anything biased on either way. Been a busy guy.
Thank you. Mr. Purdock.
There's a couple of ways that you can save money, and a lot of that has to do with management. It has to do with safety training. If we could reduce the number of workers' comp claims, if we could then turn that money, I would like to see more money in parks and rec. We do have to have these 3 jewels typically, and hopefully expand even more. I'd love to see some parks up in the Gobi Desert subdivision and the Chapman Tract subdivision, because there's no place for the kids to go. And obviously with opening up new parks, you need to have more enforcement to make sure those parks are safe. But how do we find that in the budget? Well, again, we can look at better management, look at different ways of cost savings as far as training, but we also need to explore revenue increase. One of the things that when I went to the fiscal review, as we were coming up for the budget, TOT was number 1 in one of the lists, and then that was removed. And obviously TOT is a nice revenue, and are all of our resorts paying their TOT? Are all of our vacation rentals paying their TOT? The answer that I got when I asked the question about that was, we don't have the staff to follow up with that. My feeling is, how can we not? Again, that's additional revenue. We've talked about the airport property, talked it to death. That's additional revenue. All of those things can be, the revenues coming in can be spent for improving the parks, improving the infrastructure, and that may even include roads. Anyway, thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Spatier.
If I could increase before I hit the what I would decrease, I think it's obvious we need to increase our code enforcement. That's what the city has been asking for us to pay extra taxes for. It's not coming through, so any bit of money we find, any bit of money we receive needs to go directly to code enforcement. What I would decrease, the amount of lawsuits. I think there's many times where the city behaves not inappropriately, but moves too quickly without thinking about what proper steps to take. And we end up getting sued, and we have to deal with those, again, paying lawyers, paying fees, and again, we need to just delete those altogether and behave in an intelligent way. We need to decrease our lawyer fees, as Mr. Walton was saying as well. I was under the impression that our lawyer was going to cost us less when I went to the city council meeting where we were introduced to this new contract. I'm not the only one that was in the belief that we were going to be paying less, but we're paying more. I haven't seen that lawyer do anything more than what we were getting already before. We shouldn't be paying more. He does not necessarily need to be sitting down next to the council members at the meetings. We can ask questions before the meetings in order to find out what needs to be done or what can be done. The thing that I would decrease, I wouldn't even decrease, I would eliminate the health care provided to city council. It used to be $126,000 a year. It's been decreased to $75,000 a year. We need to get rid of that. That's one code enforcement officer. We're asking people to pay extra taxes, but we're not willing to make the sacrifice for 5 people to help 15,000. We need to be able to make that happen, and we can.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I would like to decrease some of our overtime pay within departments in the city. I believe that can help fund some of the improvements we need around the city. As far as increasing a department, I believe our parks or our public works department need to be increased. They're operating on a $10,000 a year budget, and that's just not enough to keep all 3 of our parks and other facilities and things done with $10,000 budget. So I do feel that we need to increase that, but we have to also find ways of funding it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton. Oh, you already, I'm sorry, you started the question. Okay, on to our next one, which is, would you support the city reducing its borders in order to cut costs and increase focus on its problem areas? That's for Mr. Pisano. Start.
I don't think the city needs to change their borders. I think cutting our costs isn't really going to be the solution to anything. As population continues to increase here, we're going to continue to get more and more costs. We're going to have to continue to create better infrastructure for everybody else. But what we have to do is bring in jobs to help pay for stuff like that. The less we do, trying to grow bigger and try to keep ourselves a really small community, but allow our population to explode, the more it's going to continue to turmoil on ourselves. We're not going to be able to sustain it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
The idea of shrinking down the size of the city, I don't think that's even feasible. Again, it's a matter of we need more revenue. In order to get revenue, we need to present positive things for staff to work on, like bringing investors into our town. With those investors comes additional tax dollars. With those tax dollars, we can improve our infrastructure. It's not really that difficult to see. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Spadier.
I think that if we decrease the geographic location that is Clearlake, we would lose tax dollars. We do receive property taxes, and we would be eliminating some of those. The county isn't doing that great either. They're struggling. I know a few years back they wanted to also propose a road tax, and I'm sure they're still thinking about it when the option comes down the road where no one else is putting a tax on the ballot. Look at the Measure S. They've been putting that on the ballot 3 years in a row. They are struggling as well. So to me, it's like a leaf blower effect. We're only moving our problems somewhere else down the road. We're not actually helping ourselves or the people that we are now moving out of Clearlake. I think we need to figure out how to take care of ourselves rather than pretty much say bye to some of the people that we call our residents and our neighbors. That's to me, that is not the way we solve our problem, by eliminating people out of our location. We need to figure out how to bring them closer into our location, not geographically, but more in community sense.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I agree. I don't think we should make our borders smaller. However, I would like to see increased revenues, and the only way we could do that is by bringing jobs here, bringing businesses here. That's the only way to increase revenues here. And like you said, property tax, we'd lose that if we decided to shrink our borders, so I don't think that would be a great idea.
Okay. Mr. Walton.
Yeah, I don't think that it would help at all to shrink the borders. If anything at all, the larger parcels that are adjacent to the existing city of Clearlake have the potential to support a business. I mean, we have some large parcels on the outskirts of town there, and a business could go, a shopping center, different things like that could go on those parcels. So shrinking the borders, that doesn't, I'm sorry, that's maybe someone else's viewpoint, but it's not mine.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question is, Measure R stipulates that some of the revenues collected go to the police department for code enforcement. Do you believe that code enforcement should be operated through the police department? Mr. Purdock.
Actually, that's not how it was written. The Measure R, if passed, would fund 2 specialized police officers working with a code enforcement and an animal control officer. While identified as peace officers in the state of California, they are not attached to the police department budget-wise. Will they be working hand in hand with police and as far as enforcement of particular issues? Yes. My understanding, as it was explained to me, because I didn't have anything to do with the legislation of the ordinance, is that they're looking at these two police officers to focus on the higher priority criminals, the felons, those people that are here with active warrants that aren't currently being sought out because they don't have the manpower to do that. We know that where the criminals reside, oftentimes there's code enforcement issues. There's animal control issues. So, as it was explained to me, that was the purpose for having the police department or additional police officers. But again, that's 100% funded through the measure and not coming from the police department. Now, the flip side of that is, what I agree with the measure and the reason I'm supporting it is there is an oversight committee and council gets to review its operation periodically. And my other understanding, and again, I want to see more information on it, is that council has oversight as far as staffing and can work within the ordinance to maybe restructure it to be best fit for the community.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Spatier.
And if I may also correct for Measure R, it doesn't state specifically 2 police officers. It states 4 personnel, and within that personnel, the council has spoken about 2 police officers and 1 to 2 code enforcement officers. That is something that will be up for debate when it gets reviewed, but in the current measure, it talks about 4 personnel and their salaries. It does not have a very specific breakdown, which needs to be that way, but it also all depends on who your council members are and which way it will swing. Is it going to be 3 code enforcement, 1 police officers, 4 police officers, no code enforcement officers? It's up to the council as far as that goes. Yes, I think code enforcement should be under the police jurisdiction just because they are riding around town everywhere, every day. They see the situations we do not want to see. When I've done my ride-alongs with the police officers, they have shown me places that I never wanted to see and still wish I can eliminate from my mind. We have some very drastic code enforcement issues. They get called to those places on a daily basis, not because it's dirty, but because people are living in there and there's some criminal issues going on there. So I believe they have the best eyes to be able to mark down where our code enforcement issues are and to be able to bring it back to the city so the city can therefore take care of it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, could you repeat the question? I'm not sure if you said police should be on R or where we're going with this.
Okay, the question is, Measure R stipulates that some of the revenues collected go to the police department for code enforcement. Do you believe that code enforcement should be operated through the police department?
Yes, I do. I believe code enforcement should be offered or operated through the police department. I believe that's the way it's normally done. I believe they're, like you said, they're in the community. They kind of know infractions, and sometimes code enforcement can encounter dangerous situations. So I think it's nice that their code enforcement is working with our police department.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton.
I think it's a grave mistake to vote in favor of Measure R. The first thing that needs to be done is that Section 1-8.6 needs to be repealed. The City Council needs to repeal that and provide some different provisions. You cannot give 5 City Council members the right to levy $500 a day fines and then charge $880 before they will accept evidence opposing that. Now, I sued the County of Lake in 2009 and accusing the 5 supervisors, the tax collector and the auditor, of an illegal tax revenue scheme. And they were so corrupt in this county, the judges, that I had to disqualify all of them. So the California Supreme Court Justice appointed a judge, and that judge was so corrupt that he ruled that the date on the document was 3.5 years different than the date on the document. 3 appellate justices in San Francisco upheld that ruling, and the California Supreme Court refused to review it. And what happened there was 8 weeks after I sued the County of Lake, the code enforcement and Lee Lambert came out and they cited me for $4,000 a day fines after I'd been there for 20 years. And when I argued When I contacted Lee Lambert and said, no, this is wrong, you're citing me for $500 a day for a boat in my yard that is exempt, that's, you're saying has to be
Excuse me, Mr. Walton,
registered.
that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Unfortunately.
All right, Mr. Personen.
So within Measure R, it doesn't say, like they were saying, it doesn't say that they have to work with the police officers, but, or be a part of the police force. But I think code enforcement should definitely work with the police officers for their safety, because there are a lot of people out there that are violent out there nowadays. Of course, our police department is overworked right now. They're getting overtime like crazy, but they definitely need to be out there when code enforcement's doing their job. They have to be a part of that in order to protect those guys.
Okay, thank you. And our last question here is, what is your vision for Parks and Recreation?
I lost track, is it me?
Yeah.
Perfect. In the mid-90s, I was privileged enough to be asked to sit on the Planning Commission, which also was Parks and Rec Commission. I think that they need to work hand in hand. I'm so pleased with City Council and the fact that they brought that back. During my term, we were able to rebuild and restructure the skate park. We were able to dismantle and remove the dangerous playground equipment that was at the beach and install new. And I think that that just needs to continue. When I look at other communities within this county, Lucerne, for example, is a beautiful town with beautiful parks, and that's exactly what I see for our parks. And until we can vision it, it's not going to happen. A fellow by the name of Andy Peterson did a fantastic job using then redevelopment monies to fund those things. But it's up to us. It's up to us as City Council to then work with staff to find grants, to find other funding sources, and again, to push staff to let's get this doggone regional shopping center going. Because again, with the monies that will be generated from the taxes of those new businesses coming in, we can have those parks. We can have a park like Lakeport does at Library Park. Again, I really can't emphasize enough just what we need to do for our parks. You know, a Scoutmaster for a number of years here in town. The Scouts are tied with their sponsors, the Lions Club, and working together, they can do some amazing things. It isn't just the community cleanup day, but it's work programs, and it helps those kids get some community service hours. Our high schools require community service hours for graduation. All these programs can be tapped into, again, redirected to the parks, because that is, again, the three gyms in this town are Thompson Harbor, formerly Redbud Park, Highlands Park, and Austin Park. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Sabatier.
I also am really happy that Parks and Rec is back. I think that our youth are desperate for more activities. Our families are more desperate for a comfortable place to go. And I'm going to make this loud and clear. Green grass and more trees. If we have more trees in our parks, it makes it easier to keep the grass green because there's shade that makes it so they don't get burnt by the sun. We need to do this. During the cleanup day, I plan next year to work with Doug Herron, and I want to create an Earth Day festival where people will donate trees, plant the trees, put their names on it, donated by. We need the community to come together to make this happen because the city is not going to be able to fix the city by itself. It takes a village to make a village. One of the things that I want to see is a co-op insurance for sports leagues. Right now, all of our sports leagues are paying the full premium to have a sports league's liability insurance. We need a co-op insurance so that if we have 4 of them involved, then they only pay a quarter of the price, not the full price. I want to see the same thing for nonprofits, to have a co-op nonprofit insurance for events that happen in our parks. We need to bring incentives to why we can do more. And if that's what we offer, the incentive will be increased. We need to allow the city to create fundraisers on their own, just like I saw it wasn't a fundraiser, but in Lakeport, the night out, whatever it was called, where they gave hot dogs out for free. The firemen, the policemen, the council members were all there to shake hands with the public. We can make that happen right here, and we can also make it so it's a fundraiser so we can fund our skate park, so we can fund an upcoming dog park, so we can fund an upcoming water pad or anything else that we want in our park to make it more attractive and more beautiful for our families. We can't give up on our parks. We've changed it, but we cannot let it go back to the way it was last year and the year before, where it doesn't look like a very comfortable place to be. When you sit down and you get pricked in the butt, it is not a necessarily comfortable place. Let's not let that happen again.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I'm glad we're bringing back Parks and Recreation. I would like to see also a public pool, as was said earlier. I would like to see that here in Clearlake due to our lake situation. I feel that we need a public pool here. I would also like to see tracks for people that want to walk or jog around our parks. And I encourage everyone here to get involved. We're about to redevelop the Highland Park. It's going to be a visitor center / chamber building. And I would like to see that park with gazebos and fishing things and kayaks being rented out from that place. So I think we need to develop our parks and be involved. I would also like to see the city bring in recreation here, you know, volleyball courts and things that people could utilize and have sports teams here that maybe Clearlake against Lakeport or any of the neighboring towns. So I would like to see all of these events here, and these can be paid for with grant money and donations.
Thank you. Mr. Walton.
There. Well, I don't have a lot to say about that, but I do think that we need our parks and we need to maintain them. And thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Passonen.
I like the new Parks and Recreation thing, how they're working with the city council. Having ideas for our youth definitely gives us the ability to change the future of the city. Giving the kids something to do to empower them, to give them faith and confidence in themselves helps them become better citizens in our city. Ideas that a lot of these guys have are all great. I know a lot of businesses and super centers that are coming into big cities and stuff like that, they build parks whenever they come in. You can even work with them and have them rebuild an old park that we do have here that needs a lot of TLC.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're going to open up the questions to the audience. So if you've got a question for any of the candidates, just come up here to the microphone and can present it.
Good evening. I'm Akila Elamine Bakit. I've enjoyed your presentations, but I have one question. I wrote down quite a few notes, but I only have one question, and it's for Mr. Walton. Mr. Walton.
I probably should have made the qualifier that if you
Okay.
like to ask a question, it has to be directed.
Okay, I will direct it to all of them, but it's and I will start over. I ran for this office a few years ago, so I'm aware of some of the things that happened. And when I ran for this office in 2006, we had to have a platform. I still have my information, as a matter of fact. I don't plan to run again, at least not in the near future. But I believe 4 of you started out with telling us what you would do for the city, what your ideas are. 1 of you did not, and that's why I specifically asked for Mr. Walton, because I wanted him to tell us what his ideas are, what you are for, what you'd like to do, what your vision is for the city. And because I have to ask it of all of you, I'm asking of all of you, but my specific question is to Mr. Walton. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, dear. I think that it's very important that we pave the 49 miles of dirt streets in this city. This is unacceptable. And as I stated before, Granite Construction is willing to sell us the asphalt for approximately $12,000 to pave a typical city block. We need to pave those streets. That is very important. Now, as you can see very well, I'm very agitated with the fact that our courts have become so corrupt, and so it's very difficult to solve these kinds of problems. But I think with respect to the city of Clearlake, aside from the courts, the first thing is the pavement of those streets. I think they need to be paved. And then there are quite a few other problems. We need code enforcement provisions, and we need a police department that can solve crime here. And so, and there are quite a few other things. But, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Passonen, and I guess maybe I could condense that question down to what are your top priorities should you be elected? Is that a fair? Okay, yeah. Thank you. And it might just help to refresh people's memory because it's been 2 hours since they've heard it.
Top priorities is trying to bring in jobs, help our community out by creating more tax revenue for our city to to create jobs for our police officers, to create code enforcement, to do everything else. It all comes along with bringing jobs in, giving our citizens some income instead of being on welfare and growing pot and doing all the other things that they're doing right now. Also, do as much as we can for the youth, make sure that the city's cleaned up, make sure that the youth have the ability to walk up and down streets safely, also to have parks, recreation, everything else that goes along with the youth.
Bringing in jobs, again, through the regional shopping center, creating that tax base that's going to help us improve infrastructure, improve services, which brings me to the next point. All we have as council members, when elected, all the city staff can do is serve the public. When you walk in, you should be greeted with a smile, and they should ask how they can help you. When you call for law enforcement, they should arrive and treat you as though they would want their mother to be treated if she were the one calling for service. I absolutely support the police department. I know the job that they have. I know that it's difficult, but you can also greet and investigate cases with service, being service-minded and service-oriented. We need to clean up our town. I think it's pretty clear I support Measure R. With your vote, I would like to have the oversight to see that it's directed in the right way so that we can clean up our neighborhoods, make our neighborhoods safe environments for our kids to grow up in, for our seniors to feel comfortable opening their windows and enjoying a summer breeze. These things are paramount. We have to improve the quality of our life here in the city limits of Clearlake.
All right, thank you, Mr. Spatier.
I'll give you my platform and my top three important things to take on. My platform is, number one, no excuses. I can't give my children excuses for why I can't have food on the table. I can't give excuses to my children for why I can't afford to put a house over their heads, and that's the way the city needs to run. No excuses. We're paying taxes for a reason, so there cannot be excuses for why we can't do what you deserve to get. Number two, we need to listen and act. I think we've been shuffling numbers around thinking the majority of people say something when they're not the majority of the people that say something. We need to listen to all of the public. I don't care if they didn't vote for me. I don't care if they will never vote. I don't care if they are unemployed, poor, or rich. They are part of the community, and they deserve an ear. And we need to listen and act on their behalf. And the third one is we need to collaborate. The city can't fix the city by itself. We need to collaborate with the schools, which has already started. We need to increase that. We need to work with the hospital. We need to work with the Chamber of Commerce. We need to work with Rotary. There are many, many groups that want to help our community and already do by themselves. We need to work with them, not walk alone. And my top three priorities are jobs, code enforcement, and our youth.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I would like to attract quality businesses to this area, improve our agent infrastructure, maintain a balanced budget while increasing reserves. Those are my top priority.
All right, thank you. And now we have another question.
Yes, I think you all did a great job answering a lot of questions. One question that I didn't hear asked, in fact, I heard the word senior mentioned just once in this entire forum. What would you do, or would you propose to increase or help the senior population in this area? As I'm fast approaching that time, I'm really interested in knowing that. So,
We'll start with Mr. Pisoni.
Helping the seniors, haven't given that a lot of thought, but I know that helping out with the Parks and Recreation, giving them a place to go that they can feel safe to get out of the house, to do things, will definitely help them out a little bit. Job-wise, I mean, the more jobs we bring in here, the more opportunity you have as a senior to go out and do something small on the side to keep you busy with your time. I don't know if that answered your question, but we already have a lot of things in place right now for senior citizens. We don't have much for the youth or the working people.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
Thank you for the question. We have a senior center that is just fantastic, and the folks working down there are working for peanuts and putting out an amazing product. And everyone in this town needs to get behind that and support it. They happen to be having a dinner, Phil, next weekend, so everybody should be buying tickets for that, supporting the senior center. But at the senior center, they have programs. If seniors need their gutters cleaned out, we're getting into fall, the leaves are getting full in the gutters. They actually have done some screening and know some good people that will come out and help you with that. But I think the biggest thing that we need to provide for our seniors is a safe living environment. I've been knocking on some doors, unfortunately not enough probably, but if I haven't made your door yet, I'm going to try to meet you. I had a elderly lady who is living next to a person she is absolutely sure is selling drugs. And she's called and called and called and unfortunately hasn't received any help. So again, City Council needs to work with the department heads, needs to see that people are getting service, and I'm a firm believer the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I hope if people are out there listening and watching this show, call in, because we're here to help serve. And through that service and through their comment and feeling that they're not forgotten, then we're going to have a better handle on what we can do to help them.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
I feel seniors are similar to the youth. They want more activities. They feel there's certain things just don't happen anymore because we're so focused on a specific age group, or we're so focused on the economy. People want to have an enjoyment of life. And so I feel that, again, if the Parks and Rec does what I hope it does, that it also involves seniors. I know that I mentioned earlier that I really hope that within the next 10 to 15 years, we have a swimming pool in our community. That's also for the seniors. That's an activity that we can all participate in. Another thing that we need to make sure is facilitate access to services and resources. The majority of, not majority, but a lot of seniors live near the senior center. Coming from the senior center to the Safeway shop to the Burns Valley Mall, there's not a sidewalk. We need to work on getting a safe place for them to walk in order to reach those resources and those services. We can work also with the transit system in order to facilitate also their transportation from point A to point B. There's a lot that we can do. I know I'm focused on my family. I haven't reached the senior age yet, but I think that what we need for young people, for adults, is also what we need for seniors as well. We cannot ignore specific groups. We need to work as a whole.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I agree. I believe in promoting affordable senior programs through the city. I believe that we should link the city with programs that are available to the seniors here. Meals on Wheels, programs for end-of-life planning, funding programs that are available out there. I think we need to link that and let the seniors know that it is available throughout the city. I also would like to see, the seniors get involved with some of the programs that we do have, the community garden, or senior garden, I believe it's called, or some of the programs that are around now. And I think we got to link them and let them know what is available and listen to them, see what concerns they have, what do they want. I believe as far as seniors having issues with drugs or police, I think the police should go out and do safety checks on the seniors. If there's an issue, we should go by and see what's going on in senior communities and speak with them, talk with them, tell them things they can do, and have, if we can't go to them, have a senior night where maybe the police chief and city staff can invite you down to City Hall and speak to you about different things that is regarding you.
Thank you. Mr. Walton.
I think the seniors need to be protected. That's the most important thing. They are really vulnerable here. And giving code enforcement this awesome power, that's terrible. And having all these drug dealers growing these large things of marijuana, that's terrible. I mean, just like one of the individuals here, I believe it was Mr. Purdock, said, the police didn't do anything about a woman who was complaining about a marijuana grower or something to that effect here. Oh, they need to be protected. That's very important. They are very vulnerable. We cannot have corrupt courts and a corrupt government. We cannot have code enforcement that's so powerful that they can destroy someone. I mean, they practically destroyed me when they came out and Lee Lambert levied $4,000 a day fines when I was trying to sue the city and expose this illegal tax scam. And then when I argued to Lee Lambert that he was totally wrong, that the boat that he was citing me for $500 a day was exempt from registration, he ignored me. So I went to his supervisor in the police department and he ignored me. So how do you protect the people if the courts are corrupt, if code
Mr.
enforcement is biased in
Well,
favor?
that's a full 3 minutes there. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, we have another question here.
My question, I'm a senior. I think I'm pretty well taken care of in this town. There are lots of things to do. I'm looking for neighborhood parks. Neighborhood parks. We have 3 nice big parks, but the kids can't get there. They need parks in their neighborhoods. If it's one lot with a swing set, a place they can play ball, something, but kids need parks. I'd like to see that happen.
Okay, I didn't realize that was a commentary rather than a question, but anyway, it's.
They can respond how they want.
Okay, well,
Sure, give us a shot.
everyone wants a crack at that?
Yes, please, please.
All right. I'm forgetting where, I guess.
I think it's me.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Purdock.
Marie, thank you for the question, and also thank you for your service in the YANA program, reaching out to the seniors and checking on them, making sure they're okay. So I'll take you at your word that you think they're okay, because you're right out there talking to them. As far as the parks, if the city can acquire property, and with that acquisition, there you go, of the property, whether it's either donated by someone through a trust or their will or whatever, that would be fantastic. But as I said earlier, I'm very interested in creating parks where there are no parks, as in the avenues out in the Gobi Desert. Those areas really need parks. One of the other candidates mentioned the creation of parks. Unfortunately, when the city was first laid out and all those subdivisions were basically paper, there was not a requirement for the developer to include parks. One of the things that I want to applaud the current city council and staff for is we're finally almost to the point where we're going to have an updated general plan. And with that updated general plan, things like new parks and requirements for new developers coming into the city will require that. Again, heard one of the other candidates, maybe it was a sidebar, mentioned that that would be a requirement. It absolutely is. The city council and even through the planning department can require specific parks, how they're to be developed, what things are to be placed in those parks, and even the type of neighborhood that they exist in. Maybe it's a senior community that this park may be going by where the subdivision's going in, and that could be more accommodating for that population. So again, with a general plan update, that gives us a little more teeth with our developers. I'm hopeful that with the cleanup, more developers will be looking at our city.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Spatier.
I just want to mention that we have 3 parks, and those 3 parks are all on the same street and in the same location within 2 miles of one another between Redbud and Austin Park. Only one of those parks is really a children's park, and that would be Austin Beach. We're desperate for more parks for our children. I wasn't here when we had the park for the kids in Redbud Park, but I wish it was still there. There's children everywhere within our city, and we have the largest residential area just east of us, the Avenues, and they have absolutely nothing. And so when I'm walking door to door, as I've done for the last couple months, I'm seeing kids wandering. They don't know where they're going. They just don't want to be at home. They just want to have fun. We need to provide them locations to go. Not just point A to point whatever, but point A to point B. When you leave your house, you're going to the park. And we can do this. There are places like Kaboom. They are a nonprofit organization. They will come to our town, and they will provide the entire park for free. Why aren't we going after these things? We need to be going after those things, whether or not our general plan calls for it. We've been needing to have these things before. I'm glad the general plan is in. I've looked it over, skimmed. It's quite large. And there are parks set to be in the avenues as well as the park. We need to make sure that every area in our city is supported, not just our downtown area, not just the airport property. We need to think about the people. They live in residential areas, and that would be the avenues, parks, and right here, and the village.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I'm in favor of having parks in the neighborhood, especially if we can use city-owned property already, that we already own lots or donated lots. I'm 100% in favor of having parks throughout the Clearlake area.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walton.
Yes, I like the idea of neighborhood parks. That's a great idea. I like that.
Okay, Mr. Pasonin.
I think you guys got your hands full. There's a lot of guys up here that have the ideas of making our community a lot better. I think you guys definitely need to think about it, and a lot of good ideas up here.
Okay, thank you. Well, we've got some more questions here.
Thank you. My name is Rick Mayo. I've lived in this community for almost 40 years in Lake County. Spend most of my time over here in the city of Clearlake. That's where we decided to live, to settle. I was here long before the city ever incorporated. And in 1980, when the city incorporated, it was set up through the state of California. My question to all of you, because I haven't heard anybody answer it, what form of government do you think you represent?
I'm not sure I understand that. Can you rephrase that a little bit?
Okay. I'll go back to my statement. In 1980, the city of Clearlake became a city. And in becoming a city, it became a city within the jurisdiction of the state of California. My question to you is, what form of government within that jurisdiction do you think you represent?
It's like a poli-sci question.
And you're first up.
I'm sorry. What did someone say?
No, just ignore that.
Okay.
Because I would like for each one of you to answer the question the best you can, okay? It's not a catch-22 answer, really.
Are you asking what do they believe is the essence of city government?
What form of government within the state of California do you think you represent?
I'm sorry. I'm trouble. I don't quite think I understand that question still. We are an incorporated city. Is that right? I mean, as opposed to an unincorporated city. So we have 5 city council persons as opposed to the county deciding what we can or cannot do here. So I don't, I mean, I wouldn't change that. I like the fact that we have 5 city council persons here, but I think what we really need is we need information. The people need to be informed as to what's going on. That's very important. We need some avenues here to try to help the people to understand what's going on here.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if this really answers your question, but any type of government I would like to see would be proactive, something to create something better for our communities than what they already have.
Thank you. Mr. Murdoch.
When elected to city council, we're nonpartisan. We need to represent the city as a republic. We need to make decisions because as a city council member, we represent all 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. As executive, we're going to be giving direction to staff. We're going to be working toward making this place a safer place to live. In the legislative, we might create new city ordinances. We're going to have to listen and debate and talk to our constituents on what type of ordinance we need that best suits our community. And when, as another member of this panel has stated, when we have to sit in judgment on fines and levies, we need to have compassion and we need to understand what's best for our community, what's best for the residents within it, and then do the best job we can through that governance in reaching decision.
I would actually say that we're a legislative body, And the fact is, I'm here as a candidate to become a public servant to my community, to our community, where we stand for you. It's a democracy. That's what we live in. We live in the United States of America. We are a democracy. The majority rules as long as we follow the law and the Constitution, California and United States. And we're here to listen to you and to make sure that you get what you deserve, what's best for you. It's not our agenda. It's not my agenda. It's not any one of your agendas. It's our agenda of what will make Clearlake great tomorrow. I'm here to be a public servant.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Purdock and Mr. Sabatier. I believe we're here to represent the people of Clearlake.
Can I add to that? Yes.
I feel we're going to get taught a lesson.
Mostly everybody answered pretty good along the same lines. But this city was, when it incorporated, it incorporated under the general laws of the state of California. That was the answer that I was looking for. The city can't make its own rules without taking them back through the state of California if it's going to affect the rest of the community and around. The other thing is that all decisions that you make in this community affect a lot of people's lives, and you should be there to listen to the people. I did hear some of that. My other question that I had was about code enforcement. Now, back in 1990, and I don't mean to belabor this issue, but since it has come up time and time and time again, in 1990, when the redevelopment through the state of California was enacted, and it was put on hold for a few years, and then it came back. This city of Clearlake put in $100,000 a year into code enforcement out of its redevelopment budget. What the citizens need to see, because that's a big burden, code enforcement. It takes a special talent. It takes people that understand not only state laws, but they have to understand civil rights laws, because everybody's civil rights will be looked at some point. So my question to you is, what would you do to find out what happened to those hundreds of thousands of dollars that was put into code enforcement, that on the return, the money that the community should have gotten back? And nobody ever said anything about taking some of that money that they got back and putting it into the code enforcement project that the city so desperately needs now. You can't continue to tax the residents to death, or the people that come in here that will buy used goods and services. Your community, your stakeholders, your taxpayers, you understand, could only pay so much money and so many taxes. So I would like to know if you would look into it to find out where those monies went to, and if you can retrieve some of those tax dollars. The next question that I wanted to ask you was about, well, this is my last question anyway. I want to ask you about, what's your view on transparency, because I haven't heard that term used tonight. Most of you kind of skimmed over that very answers that you gave about different things, because it's apparent that there isn't a lot of transparency in city government in this community. There's a lot of people that talk about it. There's a lot of people that perhaps would like to do the right thing where transparency is concerned, especially at your council meetings, dealing with the Brown Act that most people don't like to hear about. And a lot of those people are politicians because they can do whatever they want to do. And giving the citizens a voice. Under the Brown Act, you have to give the citizen a voice. You don't really have a choice. That law was enacted many, many years ago that made that provision there so that the people would have a voice in how you perform and what you do and what you don't do. So how would you encourage the general public when they come to council meetings to speak on any issue that comes before the council and anything that goes on in that meeting? By state law, they have a right to ask questions, but the mayor or whoever may be mayor also have the right to set a time limit for that because it can't go on continuously. So I would like to know from each of you, how would you go about encouraging that transparency, not only to the public, but amongst yourselves, so that the public can feel good and start coming back to the meetings, because you have a lot of apathy in this community that governments have created over the years. Thank you.
Could we get more than 3 minutes for all that?
Sorry, it was a speech.
Yeah, the question took 12 minutes.
That's a good question.
We can start with Mr. Walton on that one.
Okay. All right, this is going to seem a little bit out there to you, okay? But transparency, in a way, I'm saying is the same thing as information. The people need information. Without that information, all kinds of things are going haywire. Now, the people of the state of California in 1910 were clamoring for a statewide initiative. And what happened was, it was a gubernatorial race, and one of the candidates in 1910 said that he would give the people a feasible statewide ballot initiative process if they elected him, and they did elect him. However, our legislature backdoored us in 1911, and they gave us the current existing statewide ballot initiative process that we have in place today. Now, what they did was they gave it to us because that's what the promise was. But they made it so expensive that only an insurance company can afford it. Oh, and they simply raise our premiums to pay for it. They don't really pay for it, we pay for it. But we cannot be heard. We need that transparency. We need that information. And if we have a feasible statewide ballot initiative process, then any individual can file an initiative with the Secretary of State in Sacramento and then put up a website and try to get support for that. Now, the University of Southern California has an institute devoted to ballot initiatives and referendums.
Excuse me, Mr. Walton, but I believe that's 3 minutes there. Thank you.
For code enforcement, I don't think that Proposition R is quite written right, because I don't think code enforcement should require extra income in order to pay for it. I think code enforcement should be able to pay for itself by the amount of problems that we do have with code here in our county, and attaching it to their taxes and not attaching it to the land like they've been doing in the past gets that money back to you. So the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were wasted before on code enforcement because they were able to find people and they never got the money for it because the property won't sell for another 40, 50, 60 years. The transparency thing, I'm not sure where you're going with that. Kind of got thrown off by a little dissertation that.
Sorry.
So, well, you might just comment on whether you're happy with the current level of transparency, or do you think there's room for improvement?
I think the mayor should have an idea of how long people should be able to go up and say something. I think streamlining things and making sure that they get through in a faster process, so we can actually take the information in a little bit easier and have a little bit more to talk about when everything's done. I think that'll be a little bit easier than going off on long rampaging rages. A lot of people eat up time in those meetings.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
Mr. Mayo, thanks for the question. I'm going to try to address it as quickly as I can. Unfortunately, in the 3-minute public comment, council members can't respond. So in that format, unless it's agendized, council can't respond. But as far as code enforcement and redevelopment, unfortunately, when we have to abate a property, I say we as though I'm already elected because I'm thinking that way, it may take a lot more funding to remove asbestos, other hazardous materials from a home, an older home that's been damaged, than what we could sell, the city could sell to recoup those losses at the going rate for real estate values. So you have a home that's been demoed and we have to hire a private contractor to come in and clean that property up. Well, we can't sell that now vacant property for what it was once worth with a viable home living on or positioned on it. So as far as code enforcement being self-sustaining, unfortunately in that regard, that's a difficult thing to have happen. With redevelopment, unfortunately it went away. The governor decided to take that away from us so he could balance his budget. I disagree with that, but we have to live with what we have. The airport property, Austin's Resort, all purchased with redevelopment monies. When those properties are now sold to a developer, we'll recoup some of that money. There's also another property we haven't talked about tonight out by the Chicken Ranch. Could be a great youth sports complex. But again, that was purchased with redevelopment money, and I think city staff and council need to look at what's our best bang for the buck, again, at recouping some of that money to then generate revenues to keep code enforcement rolling. Again, I support Measure R because
that would be 3 minutes.
Doggone it, Phil, there's just not enough money. I didn't even get to transparency, which is very important.
Nice.
Thank you, Bernie.
All right, Mr. Spatier.
So as far as past money goes, if it's still on our books and we're still looking for it, let's go after it. If it's not on the books, I would rather use our resources for today and tomorrow than to always be looking at the past. Yes, it's money that we might have lost, but it's not money that's on our books right now, and we need to focus on tomorrow, the future, and 20 years down the road, not always on yesterday. For transparency, I'm going to hit the meeting time limit. I have a time limit right now, and I have to get through a lot of your questions at this moment in time. I think we all need to learn to be succinct, and we can always come back the next meeting, as you intend to do, to continue those next 3 minutes. I think we have to be well structured in a meeting, or else we can lose control over a meeting. Transparency, we can do better. The average city has a website that has all of the reports, that has all of the videos of all of the meetings. We only have the agenda, and we're barely keeping up with putting up our minutes when they are approved by our council. We cannot be behind the line, the bar, whatever. We can't be behind. We need to be the standard just like everyone else, if not try to lift the standard once we have the occasion to do so. We can do all those things on our website. It shouldn't be that you have to pay to receive reports when you can get them for free on the internet, when it can take 2 seconds to photocopy and create a PDF and post it just like we do the agenda PDF as we speak. You should be able to come and move into this town, review the last 2 years worth of city council meetings, catch up on what's happening, and be a part of this city. We cannot alienate people even if they just moved here yesterday.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I agree. If we can get monies that's owed to the city from redevelopment, I think we should go after it within law. And I agree, we should post everything on our website that we bought it. We have a great website. We should utilize it and post things out. And if a citizen want to know something that happened within the city or about city business, I feel that we should be able to give it to them. Okay. And I'm going within a quick time. I'm not going to do it.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job, Quincy.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for the candidates?
Hi, I want to thank everyone for attending that felt that the citizens of Clearlake were important enough to be out here for us tonight for this forum. As candidates, I've heard some really great stuff as far as everyone's vision for Clearlake. You've touched on a great many things. One of the things I really didn't hear discussed too much, it was touched on by Mr. Walton, was the need for industry. I know that we all see the need for retail outlets, but the folks in this community actually, unless they're in healthcare profession or they're a civil servant of some sort, actually lower income. We're talking just about minimum wage in most cases. Retail outlets, unfortunately, bring those kind of wages, not much else. The need, I feel, is to tap into the kind of opportunities that we could create for skilled and semi-skilled people in this town, and a lot of our youth. And I believe Mr. Purdock mentioned that his son was having issues finding jobs. I mean, unless you want to cut down weeds, we have those too. It's real difficult.
And it's off.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that. Well, industry to me is a thing that we should think about pursuing, and hopefully my question is, do you feel that industry is something that this town should be pursuing, and if so, how would you pursue it to actually make it attractive as being in a climate right now when everybody's fleeing the state? How do we bring people like any corporation that would be interested in expanding or a startup company, how to bring them up here and making us look like the go-to place? Would we offer perhaps maybe a tax incentive type of thing, even though we're all looking for tax revenue, and that's what we're hoping for? Maybe we should bite the bullet a little bit to bring in the jobs. Your thoughts on that?
All right, maybe Mr. Personam could handle
Pessanen.
that one. Pessanen, I'm sorry. If you could take that.
I think any industry, any jobs, any kind of business that wants to come in here and give our people jobs, I'd definitely look at trying to get in here. I don't know if you call it an industry, but the basketball facility, like I was talking about, it is similar to an industry. It does create jobs for people, and it also creates a lot of different infrastructure, like hotels and restaurants and everything else that go along with it. So, I mean, that industry, I mean, can go just about anywhere. I mean, if anybody wanted to come to a city council meeting and bring something up where, hey, that's an idea, definitely keep your ears open and your eyes in the right direction of looking for how to get it there then afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdock.
Absolutely. And as a council member, we need to reach out to see what industry may be interested in us. The thing that we have to realize, though, is we have had some clean industry that came into the city. The city helped fund and support it, I believe, through some grants. And Mr. Law created a not a software program, a hardware program where they were creating computer boards. And great industry, those types of things. Unfortunately, trying to find a workforce that would arrive at work on time, stay throughout the day, come back from lunch, and then stay till 5 o'clock was difficult. And I don't mean to say that kind of, well, I do kind of tongue in cheek, but we have programs now at our high school that didn't exist then, and I applaud Canocti Unified for doing this, trying to do some trades. We have an ag program now. We have these types of things to try to teach our kids that maybe don't want to go to college. They're not college-bound students, but they want to learn a trade. And within that structure, if they can say, look, okay, we've got to be to work at 7 in the morning, and you get to work till 4, and you get a lunch period, and they understand that, and they understand the work ethic, that's great. And then we can attract people that want to bring these clean industries to our town. We do have properties that are available. In fact, there's a couple that are for sale right now that would be fantastic for a clean industry. The unfortunate part of this is getting it marketed. We have to go out and seek out these people that want to invest in our town. And then we need to provide them with the labor that's going to make it sustainable and hopefully profitable, because nobody wants to start a business and make those kind of investments if they can't turn a profit.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
Yes, light industry is a good idea as long as it's done in the correct way. We have a beautiful environment here. We're known for the cleanest air in America. We want to make sure we bring in the right industry if that is what we choose to do. I'd personally like to see an industry that uplifts the markets that already exist within our county. Here are some ideas that I just jotted down. Have you guys ever had pear wine? Why aren't we making pear wine? We have pears. We can create an industry that bottles wine, a co-op, a bottling co-op industry for all the wineries, for things like that. Our stores are all struggling, yet online stores are doing great. Why don't we have a Clearlake Amazon store where all of our stores can go ahead and have a warehouse, not a light industry, but a warehouse industry within that property to be ready to ship all over the world our Clearlake products. We have lots of opportunities we can take. We can sell ourselves to the world. We don't need to sell ourselves to ourselves. There's millions of people waiting to buy what we make. We have to give them that opportunity. And I think that whether that's light industry, a warehouse industry, or anything of the kind, as long as it's creating jobs, good living wage jobs, we need to go after it.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I'm in a favor. I think the question was, about bringing business here. I'm in favor of bringing businesses here, and I'm not against a large business that may want to make a resort and marina and hotels all down our Lakeshore Drive and giving them a tax break. I think that's how you attract businesses. You got to give them a tax break. If we give them $1 million tax break and they're going to generate $10 million a year, I think it's a fair trade. I also believe that light industrial could work here. I think people here need jobs. I think it's a great idea. How to bring them here, I'm not quite sure of that, but I do know we can reach out to them and see what they need. And as in the city, we need to work with them. If a business is going to come to Clearlake, we need to accept them. Another idea that I had about bringing jobs here is we got the largest population in Lake County. Why not bring the courthouse here? Why are we putting it in Lakeport? I think it should be over here. That'd also help with our police department. It'll create jobs. People going to court to come shop in our centers. And we can put that on the ballot. I think it should be on this side of the lake right here. That's 1,000 jobs or so right here in Clearlake. So we got opportunity. All I need is 2,200 signatures, and we could get it right now in the courthouse here.
Thank you. Mr. Walton.
Yeah, I think this issue of jobs is a very, very important issue here. Now, the University of California at Berkeley, as I referred to already, has an urban planning department. They're telling us you can only have so many banks, and you can only have so many beauty salons, and you can only have so many grocery stores, and you saturate the market. To create jobs, we have to go to industry. And we have this C4 property. We have approximately 25 acres still at the airport. If that was subdivided into half-acre lots, that would be 50 businesses. Now, there is some hills there, and there are roads and everything, but that's a lot of businesses. Walmart is importing everything. How come we can't manufacture things here? We have this property. It's all vacant. We need to bring in businesses. Things that if we had a plastics industry, they could make practically anything Walmart sells. I mean, so much of the stuff that Walmart is selling is made out of plastics. But we're importing it all, and we have this property. We need to develop it. We need industry. We have enough banks. We have enough beauty salons. We have enough grocery stores. We need industry.
All right, thank you. Now, are there any more questions from the audience? It's got to be quick.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Phil Harris, and I'm a member of this community. And my question is going to start off with a little bit of a statement. And that is that I have grown up in this community. And from a small child all the way through high school, I always felt, I knew there was a stigma about people in Clearlake, about youth of Clearlake. They know it growing up. They know from the beginning all the way through that they're different than the rest of the county for whatever reason. And I personally take offense to that. I always have. And just because I happen to grow up in a particular demographic doesn't mean I subscribe to that. In fact, I chose early on to stay here in Lake County, in Clearlake, and try to do everything I could to be successful in our community. I'm not sure that is something that is anything more than a perception. I firmly believe it's a perception. I think it has a lot to do with how you perceive the environment you live in and how you talk about it. So my question is, what is your perception of Clearlake, and what would you do to change the outward perception of Clearlake looking in?
Okay, I think we'll start with Mr. Purdock.
Okay. I'll start twice. The perception of Clearlake that I have is it's awesome. There are some great people living in this town, and I don't think that that's recognized not just within our community, but also within the county and outside of our county. There's some great things happening in this town. I grew up here. I came back from college. I started a career here, and I raised my family here. I have property invested here. I want to see, I'm running for city council because I want to see property values improved, increased, or at least stabilized. So what's my view of Clearlake? We're a diamond in the rough. And we can, I don't know that we can go back to what as I grew up here, it was kind of a Norman Rockwell kind of environment, but I darn sure think that by getting our hands dirty and coming together as a community, we can make a very nice, beautiful place to live. There's a place called Gray Eagle, California, and they struggled with the same economic issues that we're struggling with here. They came together as a community, they developed a downtown plan, and they fought for that plan, and now they're doing very well. I was reminded not so long ago at a Rotary meeting that Yountville used to be the armpit of Napa County, and by golly, Yountville's kind of nice right now. So it's absolutely doable for us. We just need to get our hands dirty, Phil, and get to work.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
When I first came here, I went directly to the lake. We have the most beautiful view of the lake from anywhere around Lake County. With Mount Canocti, the sunset right behind there, you just can't beat that view. I know I saw your bird's eye view camera also that you played with, and what a view from up there. I mean, you look down, we have so much lushness in this community, so many trees. We are a city, but very much rural, and that's what makes us so beautiful. The people within the city, I've been embraced by the people of this city. I'm still fairly new here, like some people like to remind me often, yet look what I've been able to accomplish. I didn't accomplish this on my own. I accomplished this because other people gave me the opportunity to accomplish these things. The people here are beautiful. They want to see this place change. They want to see the positive effort that are happening, and it will happen. Here's the reason. Here's how we do it. Yes, there is a stigma. Is it a perception? I absolutely agree with you. It is a perception. We need to change the mantra. It starts at the city council. It starts with the positive attitude towards the people and towards the city. It starts with putting out messages everywhere. Welcome to the most beautiful city on the lake. Welcome to the happiest place you can ever find in your lifetime. Things of the kind. If you say it again and again and again, you will believe it. Not only will you believe it, you will make it that place that you want it to be. Right now, our heads are down, and we're not saying those things. We're seeing the negatives, but we're not allowing ourselves to see the positives. And really, right now, there's a lot of positive things that are happening in this community.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I think Lake County is a beautiful place. I like the city of Clearlake, and I believe that most of the time, everybody that I know that come from other places, they think this place is beautiful. I think all of the stigma usually come from within. To be honest, I think people here say these things, but when I speak to people about Clearlake, they all think it's a great place, and I think it is also. She's wrapping it up, doing that. So making sure.
Thank you, Mr. Walton.
I think there is a stigma. I agree with that. Oh, and I think that is, in large part, related to poverty here. We need the jobs, we need industry, we need the streets paved. Well, those things, they play on someone. Yes, I agree there is a stigma, but I think it's very much related to the poverty issues, to the fact that we have dirt streets. How can you feel good about that? Oh.
Thank you. Mr. Pisoni.
I think we're a small community. We have a lot of tight-knit people here. I grew up here with Phil. I know a lot of people around here, and the tightness that's growing up right now in our youth that's starting to uprise, people are starting to have pride in this place. I don't know, a lot of you had pride over the last few years. I know I grew up here, graduated in '95. I felt the pride was kind of leaving a little bit when I started growing up around here. And I think now we have a group of people that's been in the city council, been making some changes recently. It's getting a little bit better. And I think that we definitely have a lot to go for. I think we have a lot of people here that are wanting to pull each other together and say, you know what, now let's do something more. Now let's go ahead and go to the next level.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess that's it for the questions tonight. It's all the time we have, so we're going to let all the candidates take a few minutes to wrap things up here and summarize why it is that they think you should vote for them. So I think we'll start with Mr. Jackson, since he was last at the beginning. So take it away.
Well, first, I'd like to thank Lake County Magazine, SS Media, the Youth Center, and all of you that attended tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak. Pretty much, I want to run for city council. I'm not going to make promises of all what I could get done, but one thing I can guarantee everyone in this room, at any time you can reach me, you can talk to me. I will listen to your concern, and I will bring it up. I will try my best to get your concern put on our agenda. If there's any issue you want to see, I will try my best to listen to you, explain why we can or why we cannot do what you're asking for, but I will listen to you, and that's one thing I will promise to everyone in this room and the whole city of Clearlake. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sabatier.
Same thing. I wanted to thank Lake County Magazine and SSS Multimedia. I want to thank the Youth Center for hosting this, for allowing us to have this here. Definitely the audience for being here so you can be educated on who all the candidates are, so you can be an informed voter. I love our open spaces here. I think we need to take advantage. We love our slow-paced rural environment. We need to maintain those things, but we can upgrade them. We need our families to remain families. Our families get torn apart when we have to go to college, where we have to get jobs that aren't available here. We need to change those opportunities here so families can remain families. I am running because I feel that I have a connection to everybody that lives here. I have the ability to blend into any group. Doesn't matter if you've just gotten out of jail, doesn't matter if you're a senior citizen, doesn't matter if you're unemployed, rich, poor, doesn't matter. I am willing to sit down and talk to anybody and everybody. And I feel that's because of my background of being an immigrant and having to deal with blending into the status quo. This is something that I think is helpful as a representative to be able to talk to each and every individual. I have spoken Spanish more often in the last 3 weeks than any other time. We have a different community than we had 20 years ago. We need different ideas to move us forward. I feel I bring those different ideas. I feel I bring that positive and enthusiastic attitude. You've seen me, what I can do for our community. Please let me do this for you on the council. I'd love to get your vote. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much for hosting this being our first forum. It really gets our ideas out into the community. I hope that many watch and gain knowledge from the candidates that are up here. I'm proud to sit with all of them. We're all interested in doing more for the city. Myself, I've been serving since I was 11 years old, and I joined the Boy Scouts of America. I paid back by being a scout leader. Again, I grew up here. I know what it was, and I know what we can grow it to be. It takes a lot of work. This community wasn't built because City Hall was built. And all these things that we want to have done don't come necessarily from City Hall. It comes from the community. It comes to who we are. You know, I hear, and I've even seen some negative comments. I looked it up in Webster's about the GOB, the good old boy. It actually gives two definitions. Obviously, those that are corrupt, I like to lean toward the other, which is those people who were out on tractors building Austin Park, creating it. A guy named Bill Constable who was out there raking and working his tail off so we could have a nice park there one day, and the Roby family who donated it. That's what started these things. That's what's going to bring them back, is us reaching out as a community through our business association, through the chamber, through city council. To answer your question, sir, again, and reiterate, we need to help. We need to give breaks to people who are really struggling and want to get their business going. We can't hammer them and say, well, you know what, you're putting in this new business, you've got $10,000 worth of improvements, so now you've got to build a sidewalk, redo the paving out in front of your street. We need to work with people. We need to get our community rolling forward with this economic snowball, because once it starts rolling, people are going to come here. We're going to want to invest. We've got some great properties for sale here, folks. And come here, raise your family. It is a great place to live. But we also have to reach out, I'm trying, Phil, to Lakeport and to the county. We're 67,000 people in this county. We hardly even make a small dot for what would be a normal sized city outside of our county. We need to work together. We need to market, not just be the person at the south end of the county on that other side of the Mason-Dixon. And with that, I'd like to ask everyone for their vote. My name's Russ Purdock. Elect me to City Council. Thank you.
My name is Michael Pessinen. I've been a citizen here since '89. I definitely like the growth that's going on around here. I like the people that are here right now that are wanting to make changes. I'd like to thank everybody that showed up today, everybody that's at home watching on their computers or TVs. Vote for me if you want to make change in the right direction, to bring jobs in, to get stuff going for our youth.
Well, apparently I'm last. I'm used to that. But I'm fighting hard for you. I know it may be hard for you to see what's going on here. I'm trying to make our government honest, and it's a big job. It really is. It comes from way up high. But aside from fighting in the courts and trying to expose all the illegal things that are going on, you know, we need to pave these streets. I've tried to show you that it is feasible to pave these streets, and we need jobs. We have an airport property where we can create jobs here. Oh, I thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, let's give everybody a round of applause here. That was quite a few questions that we subjected you to, and I think you all did really well. And I'd also like to point out to people that in Lakeport, we have a similar election for 2 seats on the city council, but we only have 3 people that were interested enough to try for those jobs, and you're lucky enough to have 7 to pick from. So I think the citizens of Clearlake should take a little pride in that people are interested and engaged enough to get involved. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, he was a great moderator, wasn't he?
Well done, sir.
As well. Well done. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Pat. Get out. It's not up to me.
Thanks,
Or
sir.
you.
I didn't answer anything about agritourism, though. I didn't bring it up.
Thank you very much.
Hi. You're welcome. Thank you. And you know what? Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Doing that.
Maybe listen to your ideas. I didn't mean anything against seniors. I'm just saying. I know we have a lot of stuff already going on. I heard him in the background. I was like, oh.
I try to do a lot for our youth too, so I do it on the funding.
I see our community, we constantly, like, even with people that don't have jobs, we do everything to cater to people that don't have jobs, so we don't do anything to
We need to break
help people.
the cycle.
Yep.
And you're right, we got to start with the youth.
Just like at the high
I didn't
school.
want to forget the seniors at all. It was a small thing.
No, but you were right though. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody mentioned seniors at all.
I didn't want to bring up
But from your perspective, that's a huge part of the election is the seniors. They vote absentee. So, if you're going to say anything at a future forum, make sure you include old people like Russ.
You guys have been in the county for a
Not
while?
his wife, but
What is your last name?
Kramer.
Kramer? I know the name.
I was
you
born
know
and raised here.
who he is. This is the guy from